Sui Tang, a carefree modern girl, woke up one day to find herself transmigrated into a comic. But she wasn't the romantic heroine, nor a stunning beauty. She was the birth mother of the future Demon King, currently just a bullied 5-year-old. She could only sigh. This situation was beyond awkward. Who is the child's father? Does anyone even care? She's stuck living with this half-human, half-demon child. Sui Tang has to give it her all, transforming into the ultimate model mother, telling stories and singing lullabies. But what shocks her even more is that the child becomes increasingly clingy, vowing to eliminate anyone who dares to take his mother away from him. Now, Sui Tang not only has to maintain her role as a legendary mother, but also, within the general's residence in Tian-Du Kingdom, she has to figure out who the child's father is before the world explodes due to some crazy crisis. An urgent voice came from inside the room. Hurry, hurry, push harder. Don't just stand there. Whether the eldest miss wakes up today depends on you. Sui Tang was awakened by the commotion outside, rubbing her head groggily and wondering, what's all the shaking? Wasn't I still in the operating room? Where am I? The scene before her eyes shocked her. Countless handsome men of all shapes and sizes stood outside the bed curtains, striking alluring poses. She clearly felt a surge of hot blood coursing through her veins, invigorating her and even making her drool, craving these beautiful sights. Amazing to actually see this kind of scene for free. Suddenly, the butler said joyfully, "Eldest miss, you're finally awake." She froze, asking blankly, "Who are you calling eldest Mississippi?" He said worriedly, "Eldest miss, are you still drowsy? You are the legitimate daughter of General Sui Tang of our Tian-Du Kingdom. The old witch doctor said you fell into the lotus pond, and your body has too much yin energy. We must find a man with the strongest yang energy to dispel the yin, so you can wake up." It seems to have worked. Countless keywords flashed through her mind. Lotus Pond, Sui Tang, Tian-Du Kingdom, General's legitimate daughter, cannon fodder. Only 1 year left to live, the short-lived mother of the villainous boss. She finally realized her situation, stunned by the massive amount of information. Isn't this the name from that novel Death to All Villains I read last night? On impulse, she blurted out, "Damn." He gently reminded her, "Miss, how can you curse?" But since things had come to this, he instructed, "Quickly, go invite the general." She lay back down on the bed weakly, thinking, so I really transmigrated. Moreover, when she read this character setting, Sui Tang had used every curse word imaginable to scold her. If it weren't for her, the villain wouldn't have completely turned evil. She's stupid and wicked, and she even has the same name as me. So infuriating. If you, the author, can't write, let me write. Grass is a plant. In short, this cannon fodder mother was written by the author not only with low intelligence, but also as extremely harsh to her own son, Su Junlin. But now, she had become the character she hated the most. She thought bitterly, tossing and turning restlessly in bed. I don't want to transmigrate. I don't want to die. I want to go back. I want to go back to my air conditioning, hot pot, video games, and petting my cat. Just then, a mechanical voice rang out, "Live well, and prevent Su Junlin from turning evil." Seeing these words, she froze, then became annoyed. Is this a system-assigned task? She wondered, and soon the system responded. Mission failed. The host will be forever trapped in the novel, becoming cannon fodder, waiting for death. Unfortunately, this was just an empty threat. The mission prompt kept appearing in her mind. Prevent Su Junlin from turning evil. That was her only thought at the time. She immediately sat up and asked, "Is the fifth prince here?" The butler honestly replied, "Yes, the general is probably entertaining them in the front hall." She immediately ordered, "Call a maid to help me change." "I'm going out," he agreed, muttering to himself. The eldest miss has been unconscious. How does she know the fifth prince is here? While changing, she didn't forget to think about the plot. I remember this part. After getting dressed, she said, "You may all leave." They replied, "Yes, eldest Mississippi." After taking a few steps, she remembered the plot from the novel. Sui Tang fell into the water and was unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. The general invited all the famous doctors, but none could cure her. In Death to All Villains, it clearly stated that in the end, a witch doctor was invited, and he said a man must be found to dispel the yin. It just so happened that the fifth prince came to visit and witnessed her embarrassing act in broad daylight. Her reputation was already poor, and now it was even worse. She frowned. More importantly, the fifth prince and his entourage will encounter Su Junlin, and they will even injure him, breaking one of his legs. This caused Su Junlin's blackening value to gradually rise. In other words, because of this incident, his descent into darkness was accelerated. At this moment, blood splattered beneath the railing. "You damned little bastard." Fifth Prince Shuang Yuanyu and his accomplices looked down at him from above. "You dare to defy this prince. Either kneel down and kowtow for your life, or this prince will break your legs." Several nobles chimed in, "Little beast, hurry up and kowtow and apologize. Beg fifth prince for mercy, or no one can save you. Everyone knows your mother doesn't care about you." These words made him freeze. Tears welled up in Su Junlin's eyes, but he said firmly, "I won't kneel." Fifth prince flew into a rage. "What did you say? You little brat, you won't kneel. Seems like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." His lackeys roared with laughter. Su Junlin gritted his teeth, glaring at them. He shouted, "Someone break this little bastard's legs. If he won't kneel, help him kneel." Yes, they responded like machines and were about to grab him. "Kid, come here." He struggled desperately to escape the confines of the narrow cage. Suddenly, someone yelled, "Stop." Su Junlin froze, staring at the person who had just arrived. Sui Tang was still catching her breath. She paused for a moment, looking at the beautiful woman before him. Mother, he thought. Mother and son gazed at each other through the bars. At that moment, a thick black aura emanated from him. She suddenly bent down, wanted to touch the little boy's head. "Mother doesn't like me at all. Seeing me will only annoy her, and she must hate me even more now," he thought. She said softly, "Oh, you're covered in dirt." He was stunned. "Mother actually touched my face," he thought. Then she ordered, "Release the child." Fifth prince was completely taken aback. He sneered, "Oh, Sui Tang, why are you here? Aren't there enough men around you already?" She retorted, "Why are you speaking so strangely? Fifth prince, are you jealous that I'm seeing other men?" He was choked. "You." She had a reason for saying this. In the novel, when Sui Tang was still a martial arts genius, Shuang Yuanyu was her fiancé. Later, someone framed Sui Tang, crippling her meridians and rendering her powerless, thus voiding their engagement. He snorted coldly, "Humph, a woman like you, who falls in love with every man she sees, is not worthy of me." At this moment, Su Junlin lunged forward and bit him hard. "No one is allowed to insult my mother," he thought. Fifth prince recoiled in pain. "You little bastard, you dare bite me." She exclaimed, "Careful," and quickly shielded the child. "Is this child protecting me because Shuang Yuanyu insulted me?" she thought. He glared angrily at Fifth Prince. Fifth Prince completely lost control. "Someone, kill this little bastard. What are you waiting for? Seize that little beast and skin him alive." Sui Tang immediately stepped in front of him. "I'd like to see who dares touch him." Su Junlin looked at her, thinking, "Mother is protecting me." Su Junlin stared blankly. "She doesn't look like the mother I know at all." Fifth Prince threatened angrily, "Sui Tang, if you insist on protecting this little bastard today, don't blame me for being ruthless." Suddenly, a dog rushed out from somewhere, barking and biting at people. Where did this stray dog come from? He wondered in alarm. Fifth Prince shrieked as he was bitten. "Ah, it hurts. Oh God, don't run around me, dog." Sui Tang thought with disgust. "I'm terrified of dogs." The dog actually lunged at her face, scaring her out of her wits. "I'd better run." She just turned to run when she bumped into someone who had just arrived. The two collided unexpectedly. She apologized awkwardly, sorry, but the dog was still chasing her. She cried out in panic, "Ataya, save me." She instinctively lunged forward, closing her eyes tightly, thinking it would definitely hurt when she fell, but she didn't feel any pain. She touched her face. Not only did it not hurt, but it felt warm. Warm lips. She started to wonder. Opening her eyes, she realized she was kissing a man's cheek. Just like that, Sui Tang was sprawled on top of him. Her cheeks flushed crimson, and she stammered, "Ah." Facing such a handsome man, she instantly threw shame to the wind, her hands unconsciously wandering over him as she muttered, so soft, quite nice." Her hand roamed across by Li Xuanji's chest. He gritted his teeth and growled, "Have you touched enough?" At this moment, countless horrified gazes fell upon her. Sui Tang, still touching him, quickly explained, I didn't mean to. I just didn't expect you to be so." His face was full of anger as he growled in a low voice, "Sui Tang, when are you going to let go?" A look of rapture still lingered on her face. She stammered, "I didn't mean to. Before she could finish, a shout came from the distance. "Tang, what are you doing?" Startled, the two spun around to see General Su Junlin, Sui Tang's father. Furious, he shielded his daughter and roared, "Tang Tang, did this punk Bali Xuanya force you to do something?" Pointing at the young man, he cursed, "Such bad luck, terrible luck. Stay away from him. No one gets a good ending near the Baili family." This white-haired youth was Baili Xuanya, the story's male protagonist and the eldest son of the Grand Secretary. Humiliated, he stood up and glared at the general. Sui Tang finally realized he was the male lead, Baili Xuanya, from the novel. Pushed into his arms by her nemesis, Sui Tang felt her heart sink, thinking Baili Xuanya probably wanted her dead already. Seeing the killing intent in the young man's eyes, her father roared again. "What are you glaring at?" Suddenly, the barking of a dog, woof woof woof, broke the tense atmosphere, followed by the fifth prince's screams. He was being chased and bitten on the ankles by a small dog. Sui Tang secretly chuckled. Serves him right for still being bitten. But as she watched the small dog relentlessly pursue Shuang Yuanyu, she suddenly felt something was amiss. Wait, why was that little black dog only chasing Shuang Yuanyu? Her son, Su Junlin, stood nearby grinning. He remembered sprinkling a special powder on the fifth prince earlier and thought smugly, it really worked. She glanced down at her son, not with reproach, but with a satisfied smile. So was this little rascal's doing. The fifth prince cried out, "Oh, my butt help." General Su, sweating profusely, ordered someone pull that dog away. Don't let the fifth prince get hurt. The fifth prince lay on the ground groaning, "Ouch, ouch." The general paced anxiously, urging, "Quick, take the fifth prince to the Imperial physician. Be careful, be gentle." At this moment, Baili Xuanya noticed her gloating at the fifth prince's misfortune and wondered, doesn't she like the fifth prince? Why isn't she worried at all, but looks rather pleased? Her hawk-like father abruptly turned and roared, "Baili, what are you staring at my daughter for? And who let you into my house? Get out." He crossed his arms, his tone icy. General Su, blushing slightly, he glanced at Sui Tang and said, "It was your daughter who threw herself into my arms just now." Sui Tang turned her head away in embarrassment. The general became even angrier. "Nonsense. I know my daughter best. She would never fall for someone like you." Baili Xuanya sneered. "Really?" He leaned closer to her and whispered, "Miss Su, if you weren't interested, why did you touch me multiple times?" She stammered, thinking, "I did do it, and I regret it to death, but I can't let him look down on me." Sui Tang put her hands on her hips and said defiantly, "I admit you're good looking, but you're not my type. If you feel like you've been taken advantage of, you can touch me back." Her father happily chimed in, "Yes, at most, we'll let you touch her back." But as soon as the words left his mouth, he realized his mistake and quickly covered his daughter's mouth. "No, Tang Tang, what nonsense are you saying? How can we let this boy touch you?" He then said to Baili Xuanya, "Baili, don't worry. The Su family won't let you suffer a loss. I'll have someone send 1,000 taels of silver to your residence as compensation." Baili Xuanya coldly walked past Sui Tang, saying proudly, "No need." Sui Tang watched him leave, secretly amused. The original host father really had a knack for infuriating people. Suddenly, she noticed a wisp of black energy swirling around Su Junlin. Her eyes widened, and she looked closely, thinking, when did this start? Why is his whole body enveloped in black energy? Sui Tang gently asked, "Are you all right?" But he subconsciously flinched away. She called again, "Su Junlin." He turned around in surprise. Looking at her gentle face, his heart leaped with joy. "Is mother talking to me?" She anxiously asked, "Su Junlin, where are you uncomfortable? What does it hurt?" He shouted with joy in his heart, "Mother is really talking to me." He said sadly, "I'm sorry, Mother, I broke your medicine. Please punish me." She recalled how the fifth prince and his group had bullied him earlier and suddenly understood. He was already talking before I arrived. She remembered the broken medicine bowl, the spilled medicine, and Sui Tang's heart burned with anger. That was the medicine Su Junlin had painstakingly brewed, and they dared to insult it like this. She looked at him tenderly. This child, even his own mother didn't love him, yet he remained so honest and kind. Poor child. Su Junlin closed his eyes tightly, waiting to be beaten, thinking, "It's over, I've angered mother again." But then, he heard a gentle voice call to him, "Come here." He stared blankly at Sui Tang and heard her soft voice say, "Come here, come to me." He instinctively hugged himself, shaking his head desperately. I'm too dirty." Seeing him like this, a pang of sorrow struck her heart. The original Sui Tang treated him so poorly. If I suddenly treat him well, he probably wouldn't know how to react. All right, I need to take it slow, change gradually. He softly called, "Mother." Sui Tang looked him up and down. He was cautious, blood still seeping from his ears, his clothes thin and worn, clearly injured. She immediately ordered, "Steward Zhang, quickly go and get a doctor to treat his injuries." The steward tried to dissuade her. "Miss, he's of such low status. There's no need to call a doctor, is there?" But she didn't care, firmly saying, "Just go when I tell you to." So much nonsense. Then she glanced back at Su Junlin, making him tremble. She looked around, sighed, and rested her chin on her hand. "Do you usually live here? The dogs in the general's manor probably live better than you." He nodded slightly. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes, thinking, this is the first time Mother has spoken to me so much. Mother, he thought, and quickly started tidying up. Not long after, the table he had wiped was sparkling. He said while working, "Mother, wait a moment, it will be clean soon." Seeing him so sensible, she sighed inwardly. This child is so thoughtful. A pang of sadness struck her heart. After a moment of hesitation, he said happily, "Mother, I've cleaned it. You can sit down now." She seriously suggested, "Move to my courtyard from now on. Don't live here anymore." Suddenly, the steward stopped her. "Miss, this won't do." "Absolutely not." She was stunned. "Why?" At this moment, Su Junlin timidly took a step back. He pointed at the boy and said, "Miss, have you forgotten who ruined your martial arts and marriage agreement? He is an ominous person, a jinx." Poor Su Junlin didn't dare to refute. She calmly recalled, resting her chin on her hand. The original Sui Tang's martial arts and reputation were ruined, clearly because someone deliberately framed her. If the original Sui Tang hadn't been pregnant, and this child hadn't absorbed the poison in her body, she would have died long ago. Su Junlin smiled brightly and said, "Mother, I'm fine living here. I'm already very happy that you're willing to talk to me today." Suddenly, her expression turned serious, scaring him into quickly calling out, "Mother." The steward also called out to her, "Mississippi." She waved the steward back and coldly said to Su Junlin, "All right, quickly pack your things and come live with me in the courtyard." He obediently replied, "Yes, Mother." Just like that, Su Junlin followed her into the courtyard. He looked around, amazed by everything. Wow, Mother's courtyard is so big and beautiful. She suddenly stopped, and he bumped into her. Sui Tang gently explained, "There are many rooms inside. Choose whichever one you like." He said worriedly, "Mother, I'm dirty and ragged." With innocent eyes, he unconsciously twirled the corner of his clothes and softly asked, "Can I really live here?" She gently stroked his head. "Of course." At this moment, a maid came in to report, "Miss, there's a letter for you." She took the letter. The envelope was clearly marked urgent matter. "Come quickly." She whispered, "A letter from Master." She remembered, right, the original Sui Tang also had a disciple. She remembered the novel mentioning. That person had unique bones and extraordinary talent, but it wasn't clearly stated who it was. Very mysterious. The system suddenly popped up a notification. Trigger task, meet your disciple. She was taken aback. The system issued a quest line, meet your disciple. She curiously asked, quest line, what are the benefits of completing it? A pop-up window appeared. Teaching your disciple martial arts can help reduce Su Junlin's probability of blackening. Hearing this, she looked at Su Junlin's innocent face. She happily ruffled Su Junlin's hair, thinking that this mysterious disciple quest was actually somewhat useful. Turning to leave, she didn't forget to instruct, have the doctor treat his injuries later and give him a bath and change of clothes. The steward replied, "Yes, miss." He stared blankly at his mother's departing figure, thinking, when will Mother come back? I really want to go with Mother. At this moment, someone asked, who needs to see a doctor? The steward disdainfully pointed at him. "Dr. Liu, it's him." The doctor walked in excitedly. "Let me see." Su Junlin, seeing a stranger, fearfully hid behind the steward, his eyes wide with nervousness as he watched the doctor. Dr. Liu disdainfully pointed at him and said coldly, "Steward Zhang, are you joking with me? He, a lowly half-human, half-demon bastard, doesn't deserve my medical attention." The steward sighed. "This is Mrs. Order." He awkwardly covered his ears with his clothes. The doctor angrily turned and left, muttering, "Humph, I won't treat such a wretch. It would be better if he died." The steward said indifferently, "Fine, don't treat him then. Kuezu, come here." He instructed the maids, saying that the eldest miss had specifically asked them to bathe him, so that the stench wouldn't reach her courtyard. The maids replied, "Yes, steward." Their attitude immediately changed, and one said smugly, "I've always served the eldest miss and know her best. She said many times that she hates Su Junlin. How could she sincerely bring him to her courtyard? Hearing this, he froze, thinking, no way, mother doesn't hate me anymore, does she? They took turns taunting him. You lowly half-demon. Remember, in Tiandu Kingdom, half-demons like you are worse than livestock. Ha, you still want us to bathe you. Dream on. Another maid covered her mouth and sneered. How could we disobey the eldest Mrs. Orders, right? Su Junlin fearfully backed away. One of them grabbed him roughly. Look at you, so filthy. We have to give you a good wash. He screamed, let me go. Poor Su Junlin pleaded. I don't want to bathe anymore. I don't want to wash. Please. But they ignored him completely, and together they threw him into the water. So noisy. Throw him into the lake for a good scrubbing. So the eldest miss won't be annoyed when she sees him. They counted together 1, 2, 3, and quickly threw him into the water. Tears welled up in his eyes. He wondered why. Su Junlin recalled the times they had been close. Why did mother lie to me like this? His eyes widened as he slowly sank into the water. Meanwhile, behind the mountain, Sui Tang was anxiously searching for her unseen disciple. Hello, she called out dejectedly. Disciple. Suddenly, she noticed rustling in the bushes. She found a white fox lying there. Is this a fox or a dog? Sui Tang walked forward and pointed at it. If it's a puppy, it's really beautiful, not fierce at all. The fox slowly opened its eyes. She exclaimed, so well-behaved. Seeing the familiar face and expression, it suddenly lifted its head, thinking, Sui Tang, why are you here? It turned out that this fox was Ba Xuanji in his transformed state. His eyes suddenly became impatient. Ba Xuanji was furious. Sui Tang pretended not to notice, petting and rubbing him. This fur is so soft and smooth, it feels so comfortable. His face flushed red. Sui Tang, take your hands off me. He raged, but only a soft, childish chirp came out. She froze for a moment, forgetting the small animal in her hands, and dropped him on the ground. He lay there weakly, trying to speak, but still couldn't make a human sound. He wondered, I'm clearly speaking human words. Why does it still sound like a fox's cry? Could I have turned back into a fox after being injured? She looked at the animal with interest. I didn't expect you to still be alive. I thought you were going to die. Transformed into a fox, he glared at her coldly. Even though the small animal pushed her away with a cold stare, he was powerless. She continued to rub him. You little thing are quite proud. Are you trying to freeze me with your stare? He cursed inwardly. Sui Tang, you're so bold. She happily hugged the small animal. Don't worry, I won't bully a puppy. Puppies are man's best friend. She always had a prejudice against big dogs. Hearing this, he stood up in protest. Chirp, 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 meaning, I'm a fox, not a dog. She paused, thinking this cry is strange, not like a dog, but like a fox. He cursed inwardly, idiot. She said presumptuously, foxes are usually quite bad, but then added, but it doesn't matter. She hugged the small animal comfortably. Considering how beautiful you are, this lady will show mercy and save your life. You're badly injured. Come back with me first. In his eyes, the image of Sui Tang holding the fox transformed into a romantic embrace between a man and a woman. He couldn't help but mutter, impudent. But she had other plans. Such a cute little animal. Maybe bringing it back will stimulate Su Junlin's compassion and kindness, reducing the chance of him turning evil. He gradually gave up resisting and sniffed her, thinking, this woman, her scent is so reassuring. Then he fell asleep. Sui Tang was alone, thinking dejectedly, but I've waited so long. Why haven't I seen my disciple yet? Is he deliberately playing a trick on me? Forget it. I'd better go back. With that thought, she decisively gave up and turned to leave. Inside the general's mansion, after understanding the general situation, she demanded, say it again, what exactly happened to Su Junlin. The servants nervously explained, eldest miss, didn't you want to teach him a lesson, so he wouldn't dare to dream of entering your courtyard? They added, unrepentant, yes, eldest miss, you let him into the courtyard. Wasn't it just to show him the difference between him and you? She trembled with anger, sarcastically retorting, your reading comprehension skills are truly impressive. Where's Su Junlin now? Faced with her questioning, they stammered, he was driven out of the annex by our maids. He should have returned to his own quarters. Her face darkened. Su Junlin was sitting on a pile of straw in the small courtyard. Su Junlin sobbed, mother. His heart ached, and the tears wouldn't stop. Suddenly someone shouted, Su Junlin. He looked up and saw the person running towards him in a panic. He stammered, mother, awkwardly covering himself. She saw a strange black aura swirling around him and asked with confusion, what is that aura? Why does it appear and disappear? The system immediately replied. That aura represents Su Junlin's current mood. She cried out in shock, "What the hell? Didn't the mission guide lie to me? Didn't you say that as long as I saw that hidden disciple, the probability of Su Junlin's blackening would decrease?" Her eyes widened as she looked at the child again, only to see him trying his best to avoid her gaze. She put the fox down and softly called, "Su Junlin." He mumbled, "Mother, I know I shouldn't have gone to the annex. I won't make Mother angry again," he said as he wiped away the tears that kept flowing. She had encountered a big problem. Not only had she not seen the disciple this time, but the child's blackening trend had become even more serious. Sui Tang comforted him. "Little one, your clothes are all wet. Do you want to take a bath and change into clean clothes?" He replied coldly, "No." Those words still echoed in his mind. "Stop dreaming. The young miss hates you the most." He clearly showed resistance. "No, they'll dry in a while." She quickly noticed his abnormality. Su Junlin reacted so strongly to her touch. Someone must have bullied him. I have to make him believe that I won't hurt him, so that I can repair our relationship. Thinking of this, she said, "Little one, sit here obediently and wait for me. I'll be right back." After saying that, she got up and left. "Mother is leaving again," he muttered to himself, his heart filled with disappointment. He forced himself to sound strong, murmuring, "It's good that Mother is gone. At least she won't see me, won't find me annoying." But the tears wouldn't stop. Suddenly, Little Dog, he noticed the small animal sleeping quietly with an injured leg. He asked with concern, "Little Dog, are you hurt? Don't you have a mother and father?" Then he comforted himself, "You're so pitiful, even more pitiful than me. Although Mother doesn't like me at all, at least I still have a mother." By the time Sui Tang returned, she saw him carefully covering the small animal with a blanket to keep it warm. She thought to herself, "It seems that small animals can really arouse this child's compassion." Just then, the maid came in with water. "Young miss, the hot water is ready," she said softly. "Little one, wearing wet clothes for a long time will make you sick. Take off your clothes. Let's take a hot bath, okay?" He looked at the bucket of water and thought, "Mother wants me to take a bath. Is she afraid that I will get sick and infect her?" He immediately started thinking negatively. As expected, Mother still hates me. So she asked, "Little one, do you want me to help you?" He still wanted to avoid it. "Mother, can I not take a bath?" She said sternly, "No, you'll get sick." But he always knew in his heart that he couldn't disobey Mother's orders, otherwise she wouldn't be happy. So I had to take off my soaked clothes. Obediently, I climbed into the bath. Suddenly I realized, wow, it's hot water. I was soaking the water when she casually said, "I'll help you wash, okay?" I jumped up like a startled cat. "Mother?" She looked at me in confusion. "What's wrong?" I said awkwardly, "Well, men and women shouldn't touch each other." She chuckled and pinched my nose, saying happily, "Where did you learn that from? You're my son. Is there anything I can't see?" Rubbing my nose, I thought, Mother looks so beautiful when she smiles. Mother must be the most beautiful person in the world. I noticed she was staring at something and realized that I was so happy that I forgot to hide my tail. I hurriedly covered it, stammering, "Mother, I'm sorry. I accidentally showed my tail. Mother doesn't like the demonic blood and features on me. I have to hide my tail and ears. If I pluck these hairs, they won't be so obvious." She said gently, "That's what makes you special. Others would envy you for having a tail. Stop plucking your fur. Keep your tail nice and pretty." After she finished speaking, I stared at her blankly. Just then, the housekeeper came to report, "Young miss, the medicine chest you requested has arrived." She immediately said, "Bring it here." I started overthinking again. Mother wants my tail to be pretty. Does she think it's ugly now? She rummaged through the medicine chest and said, "Darling, come here. Your ear hurts. Let me take care of it for you." I said, "Mother, this medicine is so expensive. It's a waste to use it on me." She turned me around seriously and said, "In my heart, no matter how expensive the medicine is, it's not as important as your wound." My eyes sparkled as I looked at her and called out Mom in the courtyard. Sui Tang said seriously to Su Junlin, "Maybe you don't understand or believe me now, but you will in the future." She placed her hand on his shoulder and solemnly emphasized, "To Mom, you are the most important." This sudden tenderness caught him off guard, and he thought, am I dreaming? Mom actually said, I'm the most important. He nestled dazedly in his mother's arms as Sui Tang began to apply medicine to his injury. Su Junlin winced in pain. His ears drooped. She asked gently, "Does it hurt?" He shook his head, but couldn't help but sob. She blew on his ear and said, "Mommy will blow on it, and it won't hurt anymore." She patted his head soothingly. He widened his eyes, thinking blankly, Mom is so gentle. And as soon as Mom blew on it, it really didn't hurt anymore. He happily touched his medicated ear. She reminded him, I've already put medicine on it. Don't touch it. He obediently replied, okay. When she turned around, she was surprised to find the little guy had fallen asleep. She picked him up and suddenly remembered, I almost forgot, the little fox's wound needs to be treated too. So she went to apply medicine to the little creature. Bai Lishuanji, half asleep, vaguely felt something was wrong. It feels like someone is touching my paw. Who's so bold? He was thinking about that beautiful face. When he suddenly turned over and glared at her angrily, it's Sui Tang again. Why do I always run into this woman? Come to think of it, I've been in fox form since I was injured. Could it be Sui Tang who picked me up? He thought. Before his anger subsided, he heard her say, this wound is a bit deep. I think I need to shave the fur before applying the medicine. He panicked. If the fur is shaved, won't I be bald when I turn back into a human? Absolutely not. So he jumped up abruptly and broke free from her grasp. Looking at the resisting little creature, she guessed, hey, can you understand me? Little guy, you're reacting so strongly. You really don't want me to shave your fur. The little guy actually nodded. She couldn't help but be charmed and laughed. The little guy was fuming and deliberately covered his wound with his paw, clearly not letting her touch it. She had a compromise. All right, no shaving. You're so beautiful like this. It wouldn't look good with shaved fur. But she still picked up the little guy and put him directly into the basin of water. Soaking in the cool water, the little guy initially wanted to curse Sui Tang. Until she calmly helped him bathe, he thought shyly, where are you touching? Don't touch there. She also asked, little guy, am I hurting you? And coaxed, be good. It'll be over soon. I'll be gentle. His whole body stiffened. He huddled in the corner, looking at her awkwardly, feeling a little sad. Just a pet, yet it can enjoy mom's tenderness. Honestly, am I really that unimportant in mom's heart? After the bath, she stroked the little fox's fur with satisfaction, sighing, this fox's fur feels so smooth, like silk. Unable to ignore the little guy's strong resistance, she picked him up and asked seriously, little guy, I saved you. Aren't you grateful? Why are you still glaring at me? Suddenly she remembered something, and Sui Tang made a bold guess. Why does this look so familiar? Wait, in the novel, the male lead, Bai Lishuanji, isn't an ordinary person. He's half human, half demon, and can transform into a fox. Could this little guy in front of me be him? Sui Tang tried to calm herself down. There are plenty of foxes in this world. It's probably just a coincidence. Aware of her own identity, she thought carefully. The book didn't mention any interaction between the original Sui Tang and Bai Lishuanji, let alone saving him. I'm just a cannon fodder character. Even if the male lead is injured and turns into a fox, there's no way I would pick him up. She finally concluded, it's definitely not the male lead. So she confidently held the little guy tightly. Suddenly she put him down. Bai Lishuanji was confused. What does she want to do now? Before he could react, she had mustered her courage, parted the fur underneath him, and applied the ointment. With a businesslike manner, although he was still embarrassed, he wasn't as agitated as before, thinking helplessly, this woman is shameless. Su Junlin softly called out, Mom, feeling a little lost. In Mom's eyes, am I just like a pet? Maybe she only cares about me on a whim. Suddenly, the black energy around him emerged again, and he felt jealous of the fox. Even a pet gets good ointment. I'm not even as good as a pet. Fully bandaged, he jumped up abruptly, staring resentfully at the scene before him, thinking viciously, Mom is holding a pet, but not me. He gritted his teeth, surrounded by black energy. I hate this fox. If it weren't for him, Mom would definitely love me more. Suddenly she asked Su Junlin, do you like this fox? He restrained his dark aura, pretending to be a well-behaved child, and nodded. You do. She entrusted the fox to him. Then I'll leave this fox to you. You have to take good care of it. Okay. She thought that since they were both small creatures, perhaps the fox could sense the kindness and empathy in Su Junlin's heart. He accepted it with a bright smile. I understand, Mother. He carefully examined the child, thinking, this child's gaze towards me isn't pure. She gently patted his head. Good boy, take good care of it. He was stunned for a moment, thinking, Sui Tang actually handed me over to a child, not even 5 years old. She really is as foolish as the rumors say. Then she asked Su Junlin, do you want to live with me in the other courtyard? He turned his face away, pretending to refuse resolutely. Mother, I still want to stay here. I've gotten used to it. She thought for a moment, feeling that she should take things slowly. After all, she had just heard him and couldn't gain his trust so quickly, so she agreed with him. By now, it was dark. He held the sleeping little creature in his arms. He angrily questioned, why did you steal my mother? Why is Mother willing to hold you, but not me? Saying this, he picked up the fox and threw it down hard. Even if you're pitiful, you can't steal my mother. He came back to his senses, thinking irritably. This kid is ruthless, he actually tried to kill me. Facing the fox, he muttered to himself, if it weren't for you, Mother wouldn't be holding you and wouldn't be stolen by you. Little fox, I really want you to disappear forever. What should I do? He asked. The fox shuddered, thinking through gritted teeth. Little brat, what do you want to do? He muttered under his breath, looking at the child. This little brat is a little devil. He appears harmless, but his heart is darker than anyone's. He tried to remain calm. I don't want to hurt anyone, especially a child. Suddenly, the child grabbed a roll of rope. Balashwanji was startled, thinking, is this kid going to strangle me? But before he could make a move, a voice came. Su Junlin, what are you doing? It was Sui Tang. She had returned. Su Junlin immediately hid the rope, putting on an innocent and adorable appearance, even his dark aura disappearing. He called out sweetly, Mother. She said sternly, Su Junlin, don't hide it. I saw everything. What are you doing with the rope? He hesitated. He immediately put on an innocent expression and confessed. I wanted to tie its mouth shut. I'm afraid it'll bite itself and get hurt. The poor Balashwanji couldn't speak, cursing inwardly. This kid is really good at pretending. He clearly wanted to kill me just now. She actually believed him. What a thoughtful child, even more considerate than I imagined. Do you want me to help you tie its mouth? He obediently agreed. Okay. Balashwanji was utterly shocked, only able to threaten her with his eyes. Sui Tang, how dare you? A few minutes later, Balashwanji complained inwardly. This mother and son duo are truly something else. The boy held the small animal and promised, Mother, don't worry, I will definitely take good care of this little fox. As if bewitched, she said in a daze, good, take good care of it. She was still thinking, it seems Su Junlin really likes this fox. Having him take care of it shouldn't be a problem. Suddenly, the little creature reached out a paw, as if trying to stop her. Still in a trance, she turned around and saw the little creature hugging her leg. Only one thought remained in her mind. So cute. She asked, what's wrong, little fox? Don't you want me to leave? It nodded frantically, thinking only, Sui Tang absolutely cannot leave. If she leaves me with her son, this little devil will definitely kill me. She thought carefully. I forgot, Su Junlin is currently in a blackened state. This little fox is, after all, the one I saved. Leaving it with a blackened villain is too dangerous. So she happily agreed. As expected, foxes are all clever little things. All right, seeing as you're so cute, I'll let you follow me for today. Balashwanji breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, Sui Tang is annoying, but at least she's not as crazy as her son. The boy asked softly, Mother, are you taking the little fox with you? She explained, I didn't think it through just now. Your body hasn't recovered yet. You need to rest more. When the little fox's injuries are healed, you can play together. Okay. He reluctantly agreed. Okay. He watched her leave, his heart full of resentment. If only I were the one being held by Mother. But I don't have the right to make her not keep a pet. Su Junlin pouted, tears in his eyes. I must be obedient so Mother won't be angry. I hate that little fox. That night, in the general's mansion, General Su asked, Tang, I heard you went to see that little monster Su Junlin and even wanted to bring him to live in your own courtyard. She replied calmly, Father, Su Junlin is my son. I was confused before, but I will definitely treat him well from now on. I'll bring him to my courtyard in a few days. He immediately refused flatly. Absolutely not. I can agree to anything you want, but I absolutely cannot have anything to do with that little monster. In his heart, the disgust for that child was deeply rooted. The moment that little monster was born, my daughter went from a martial arts genius to a cripple, and the entire Su family became the laughingstock of the Imperial capital. If he weren't my own flesh and blood son, I would have driven him out of the general's manor long ago. But she didn't back down. Father, Su Junlin is not a monster. He is my son and your grandson. Her words left him speechless for a moment, but he remained stubborn. You'll never bring him into your courtyard. He said impatiently, you are not to interfere in that little monster's affairs. She retorted, what if I insist? She thought to herself, if I don't intervene, I'll just end up as cannon fodder, waiting to die, never able to return home. He compromised. Fine, the day you take over the military camp, I'll let you take care of him. She recalled the plot of the novel. Although General Su held military power, his second son was paralyzed in a wheelchair, and his third son became frail and enjoyed dressing as a woman after being injured. Her, Sui Tang, the original owner of this body, was his only hope, but she too had gone from a genius to a cripple. Making her take over the military camp, wasn't this deliberately making things difficult for her? So she said, Father, don't you have so many adopted sons and daughters? Why can't they take over? He said in a deep voice, Tang Tang, if you want to take care of that little monster, you must take over the military camp. A glimmer of hope flashed through his mind. Ever since Tong Tong's meridians were destroyed and she could no longer practice martial arts, she had avoided anything related to it. Now she was willing to break the taboo for the sake of changing her fate. Could it really be possible? Sui Tang confidently replied, "All right, father, I promise you." This greatly surprised him. She continued, "I will try to help manage the military camp." She was so resolute because she believed that even if her body was damaged, her mind was still sharp. General Su was furious when he heard this. He clenched his fists and snorted heavily, making his stance clear. She, however, was extremely pleased. Returning to the manor, the maidservants greeted her happily. "Eldest miss, you're back." She glanced at them and announced, "From today onwards, you don't need to serve me anymore." Of course, she had her reasons for doing this. These maids had served the original owner for many years and treated Su Junlin terribly. Those who had harmed Su Junlin could not stay. Hearing this, the maids trembled with fear and knelt down to beg for mercy. "Eldest miss, what have we done wrong? Please don't send us away. Please." She looked at them with a cold smile, too lazy to explain. "You shouldn't have disobeyed my orders and harmed Su Junlin. My mind is made up. Go find the steward and have him arrange a place for you." With that, she slammed the door shut and took a comfortable hot bath. Lying in bed, she summarized the day. The first day of transmigrating into this book was really eventful. I need to sort out my thoughts. She was so tired that she fell asleep before she knew it. Bala Xuanji was woken by the cold. Ugh, so cold. Startled to find himself sleeping next to her, he couldn't help but sigh. Everyone says Sui Tang is the most beautiful woman in the Tiandu kingdom, and now that I look closely, it's indeed true. His mind raced with improper thoughts, and he quickly shook his head in denial. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. In the end, he was still woken up by the cold. So cold. He peeked at her and subconsciously pulled the blanket towards himself. So warm. He thought contentedly. Suddenly, she rolled over. Ugh. The scene made his heart race and his face flush. "Sui Tang," she mumbled in her sleep, feeling the little guy move. Don't move. He thought awkwardly. This is the first time I've been so consciously aware of a woman being so close to me, aside from that one time 6 years ago when I had skin-to-skin contact with a woman. When did Sui Tang? He stared at her chest. Don't look at what you shouldn't. Don't look at what you shouldn't. He tried to compose himself. He tried to calm down. Just as dawn broke, she woke up groggily and found the little guy's paw resting improperly. She scolded, "You lecherous fox, just because you're good-looking you take advantage of me." She then picked the little guy up and threw him on the floor. He woke up in a daze. Seeing that she was only wearing a thin undergarment, his blood rushed to his head and his nose started to bleed. While getting dressed, she planned her day. "I have to go back early. I need to work harder today." He muttered awkwardly, "Sui Tang, don't you know what modesty is?" Arriving at the small courtyard, she called out, "Su Junlin." He was carrying water and froze when he heard her voice. "Mother," she asked, "what are you carrying water for?" He replied, "To wash clothes." Only then did she notice the few worn-out clothes in the basin. A pang of heartache struck her. These clothes looked like servants' clothes. She took his hand and said, "Don't do that." He quickly let go of her hand and said, "Mother, my hands are cold. They'll make yours cold too." And poor Su Junlin said, "If I don't help them wash, I won't get any food." Her heart tightened. She asked, "Little one, have you ever left the general's mansion?" He shook his head vigorously. "Then mother will take you out to play today," she said. "Let's go see the sights outside, all right?" He reminded her, "Mother, I can't go out." Ever since he was born, Su Junlin knew that in the Tiandu kingdom, the status of a demon was far inferior to that of a human. The Su family considered him a disgrace, and he couldn't embarrass his mother. She gently took his hand and said, "Why not? If mother says it's all right, then it's all right. Then it's all right." So Sui Tang took him out to play. The streets were bustling with people. He widened his eyes, his mouth agape, thinking, so this is the outside world. It's so beautiful. Suddenly, she called out, "Little one." He was startled and quickly turned around. She gently asked, "Do you want a tonghalu?" He stammered, "See, can I?" Sui Tang took out 2 tonghalus and said with a smile, "Of course. From now on, mother will buy you whatever you want to eat." It was his first time seeing these round things. He stared at them for a long time. The tonghalu looked so delicious, but he thought, this is the first thing mother has bought for me. I must cherish it. Seeing his hesitation, she urged, "Eat it quickly. There are plenty more." He swallowed. Gulp. He finally couldn't resist, popping one into his mouth and taking a large, happy bite. Su Junlin thought, it's sweet and sour, so delicious. Not only that, she also bought him all sorts of delicious treats. Roasted chestnuts, sweet-scented osmanthus cake. Here, little one, they're all yours. The two held hands and walked intimately down the street. Suddenly, Sui Tang noticed a pink mist appearing around him. She asked curiously, what does this pink mist represent? The system explained, the pink mist represents Su Junlin's good mood. Hearing this, she also became happy. Although his blackening value hadn't decreased, the little guy was in a good mood, so the mission was finally making progress. An hour later, Su Junlin's arms were full of various treats, his eyes full of joy. These are all mine. Mother is the best. He tilted his head and softly called out, Mother. Suddenly, an uninvited guest appeared. The fifth prince, arms crossed, shouted aggressively, Sui Tang. He rudely pointed at Su Junlin and said, Sui Tang, are you out of your mind? You actually dare to bring this little bastard out. Do you think your reputation isn't bad enough already? At this moment, the little boy shamefully covered his abnormally large ears. The fifth prince sneered triumphantly. Or did you deliberately bring him out to apologize to me in public? Only someone like you would do that, Sui Tang. Fine, I'll reluctantly accept your apology. Break his legs in front of you, haha. His provocative words made the little boy break out in a cold sweat, mistakenly believing that his mother had brought him out to hand him over to these bad people to have his legs broken. She calmly poured herself a cup of tea and said, Fifth prince, what's the rush? Sit down and have some tea first. She pushed the teacup towards him and continued, What's wrong, fifth prince? Are you afraid I poisoned it? Are you afraid to drink it? Hearing this, he immediately picked up the teacup and drank it all in one gulp, putting on an air of superiority. There's nothing this prince wouldn't dare to do. After finishing the tea, he slammed the cup down and sneered, Sui Tang, I drank your tea and you didn't stop me. Does that mean you agree to let me deal with this little beast? Good. Someone seize this little bastard. Today, I'm going to break his legs in public. Suddenly, his face changed. His lips pressed tightly together as he clutched his stomach and rushed out. Ouch, my stomach hurts. Sui Tang, what did you put in the tea? She put on an innocent expression. Fifth prince, what are you talking about? We drank the same tea. Why am I fine? He writhed in pain, but before leaving, he didn't forget to order, seize Sui Tang and that little bastard. I'll be back. She playfully blocked his path, teasing, Fifth prince, why does your face look so bad? Were you bitten by a dog last night and got rabies? He retorted shamelessly, Sui Tang, don't slander me. I just have a stomachache and need to take a shit. Su Junlin stood beside her, pinching his nose and asking, Mother, why does his poop smell worse than Xiaohei's? Is he also pooping dog shit? Everyone present burst into laughter. Sui Tang covered her mouth and urged, Hurry up, fifth prince, don't poop your pants. He was both angry and helpless. As a result, he tripped and fell face first, eating dirt. The stench from his pants spread, and the surrounding people recoiled in disgust. So smelly. Some mocked. The Prince of Tian not only pooped himself in public, but he also pooped his pants. Humiliated, he roared, Sui Tang, I'm going to kill you. Someone seized them. She remained unfazed, reaching out to grab her son's hand. Little one, hold on tight. Let's run. Su Junlin looked at her with sparkling eyes. All right then. As soon as the words left her mouth, they dashed out like the wind, swift as a ship cutting through waves. The fifth prince, left far behind, shouted angrily, Sui Tang, I swear I won't let this go. They ran a good distance before Sui Tang stopped, laughing breathlessly. The little guy beside her giggled too. Suddenly, the system alerted. Su Junlin's blackening value decreased by 2%. Hearing this news, she raised an eyebrow in satisfaction. Finally, it went down. This was a good sign. 2 days later, inside the general's manor, Su Zhengxiong explained impatiently, Old Bai Li, how many times have I told you? My general's manor doesn't have your son. Are you deaf? Even if every other man in the world died, my daughter wouldn't like your son. Stop thinking he's hidden here. The man straightened his back and coldly replied, Is that so? The elderly man in the official hat and red brocade robe was none other than the capital's grand preceptor, Bai Li Shuangye, the male lead's father. Old Bai Li angrily rebuked, Your daughter acted improperly towards my son in public. She must have ulterior motives. Many people had seen it, and neither of them would back down. Su Zhengxiong barked an order, Someone, escort the grand preceptor out. The old man was equally unyielding. Tear down the general's manor. Sui Tang, holding the little fox in her arms, stepped forward to intervene. Wait a moment. She spoke earnestly. Grand Preceptor, I have never hidden your son. The old man stared at the fox in her arms, sweat beading on his forehead. Sui Tang remained calm. I am willing to prove my innocence. Let people search the manor, but if nothing is found, you must publicly apologize to my father at Zhuke Tower, Chengjiang Street. How about that? Old Bali looked at her, somewhat entranced. This girl really resembled her mother. Seeing this, Su Junlin roared, Old man, you dare look at my daughter like that. Believe it or not, I'll beat you to death. The old man blocked Su Junlin, and so the two hot-tempered old men began to fight. Outside, Sui Tang shouted desperately for her father, her voice growing hoarse. Old Bailey suddenly changed his tune. Since Miss Su has personally explained, it must be a misunderstanding. This old man will not search the manor. Farewell. Su Junlin was still fuming. That old man deliberately delayed me from attending court, making me late. I must hurry. Tang, go back to the main hall. The emperor, seated on the dragon throne, said, Minister Su, Minister Bailey. They both responded in unison. Your servant is present. Emperor Xinyuan Yin of Tiandu Kingdom continued. Recently, I've heard that Bailey's son and the eldest daughter of the Su family are deeply in love, which pleases me greatly. Su Junlin hurriedly explained, Your Majesty, my daughter and Bailey's son have never met. Old Bailey quickly echoed, Yes, they don't know each other at all. But the emperor seemed to have already heard something, and pressed further, Minister Bailey, didn't your son go to the Su residence on his own initiative? And didn't Minister Su's precious daughter throw herself at Bailey's son? Is this true? The two could only lower their heads and reply, Indeed, such a thing happened. Your Majesty, the emperor suddenly dropped an even more shocking piece of news. I also heard that Bailey's son went to the Su residence early this morning to propose marriage. The two were stunned. Who spread this rumor? The emperor then declared, I see that Bailey's son and Miss Su are of similar age and deeply in love. It's fitting to bestow a marriage upon them. Let the imperial astrologer choose an auspicious date. I shall also come to partake in the wedding feast. The two old men were struck dumb as if by lightning. Back at home, Su Junlin anxiously took his daughter's hand and asked, Is there someone in your heart? Tell me, and I'll kidnap him tonight and have you married. He didn't forget to list a bunch of eligible young men. How about the eldest son of the Minister of Revenue? Or the second son of the Minister of Personnel? And there's the fifth prince. Right, didn't you like the fifth prince? Tonight, I'll knock him unconscious and deliver him to your bed. Sui Tang looked bewildered. Father, what's wrong with you? He said glumly, The emperor has decreed a marriage between you and Bailey Shuangya. Sui Tang and the Bailey Shuangya, in fox form, in her arms were both dumbfounded. A marriage decree. Sui Tang recalled the original story. When the emperor decreed a marriage and the Su family defied the decree, the emperor used it as an opportunity to confiscate the divine weapons in Su Junlin's possession. In addition, the Bailey family had to spend a large sum of money from the national treasury to smooth things over. It was a double loss. She painstakingly persuaded her father not to defy the imperial edict, and even more so, not to implicate the entire family. Otherwise, the emperor would surely accuse them of treason. After listening, her father anxiously asked, Then what should we do? Just then, the system popped up a notification, reminding her that Su Junlin receiving paternal love could reduce his blackening value. She suddenly realized that the task was hinting to her. Could Su Junlin's father be Bailey Shuangya? She desperately tried to recall, and suddenly remembered the book mentioning that the man who had an affair with Sui Tang had a birthmark on his chest, and Bailey Shuangya seemed to have a birthmark too. Could this be just a coincidence? While stroking the fox's head, she pondered. No wonder she hadn't been able to reduce Su Junlin's blackening value, no matter how hard she tried recently. It turned out he didn't need maternal love, but paternal love. She carefully considered it and felt it made sense, so she decisively said, Father, I want to marry Bailey Shuangya. Su Junlin nearly fainted. What nonsense are you talking about? The Bailey family is a pit of fire. That boy is notoriously harsh and vicious. His previous wives were all cursed by his bad luck and died. That jinx, whoever touches him suffers misfortune. The fox glared at him, clearly displeased. Where am I harsh and vicious? What jinx? That woman died on her own. What does it have to do with me? Sui Tang took a deep breath and thought, Here we go. She forced herself to say, Father, Actually, I like Bali Shuangya. The fox blushed upon hearing this, wondering, what is this woman saying? Su Zhengxiong's jaw dropped in shock. Tang Tang, my precious daughter, how could you be so muddle-headed? What's good about Bali Shuangya? Don't you have anyone you like? She stammered. He's handsome, his voice is pleasant, and his figure, cough cough, is also very good. Sui Tang, steady, steady. Her father widened his eyes and retorted, good what? Doesn't he just have 2 eyes and a nose? That boy is as thin as a sickly cat, without any fighting spirit. You should find someone like your father, a man who can protect you. That's even better. Hearing this, Sui Tang wrapped her arms around her father's arm and acted coquettishly. Father, you are of course the most handsome man in the world. No one can compare to you, but I really like him. And I seem to be pregnant. As soon as she finished speaking, her father's face instantly darkened like the bottom of a pot. Sui Tang, are you trying to anger me to death? She pretended to be pitiful with tears in her eyes. Father, it's all my fault. If you're still angry, hit me. You can even beat me to death. Bali Shuangya was completely dumbfounded, his heart filled with cold sweat. We're clearly innocent. How can she? Seeing her crocodile tears taking effect, Sui Tang secretly laughed. Success. The fox tilted its head and looked at her suspiciously, thinking, this woman is clearly doing this on purpose. It seems I need to find a chance to return to the manor. Fortunately, my injuries have healed quite a bit tonight, and I should be able to transform back into a human. It's time to sneak back. Bali Shuangya secretly made up his mind. When I transform back into a human, I must. Suddenly, his thoughts were interrupted. Sui Tang excitedly picked up the small animal and said happily, finally, I don't have to worry about my father anymore. Little fox, let's go. Suddenly, curses came from afar. Who do you think you are, young master? You little bastard. Su Junlin was enveloped in a thick black aura. She angrily said, you blind thing, how dare you bully my son? A brazen servant girl sneered. The eldest miss is going to marry into the Bai Li family. She won't take you with her then. Just wait to be trampled underfoot. He stubbornly retorted, Mother said she wouldn't leave me. The servant girl became even more smug, laughing gloatingly. You actually believe the eldest Mrs. Sweet words. Even General Li couldn't stay by her side. He felt uneasy. She's right. Even General Li couldn't stay by Mother's side. How can I? Seeing him waver, the servant girl loudly fabricated the future. After your mother enters the Bai Li family, she might even have another child. An image of a warm family of 3 appeared in his mind, and he felt increasingly insecure. Seeing this, the servant girl became even more smug and continued to provoke him. By then, your mother won't care whether you live or die. Su Junlin was completely enraged and lunged forward. Shut up, he roared and pushed her down. The servant girl gritted her teeth. You little beast. The black aura around him intensified. He retorted, whether I live or die, I won't listen to those hurtful words. He also thought, those who speak ill of mother are bad people, and bad people deserve to die. He immediately grabbed a nearby axe and stared at her with murderous intent. The servant girl raged, you little bastard, how dare you push me? I'll beat you to death. She raised her hand to strike him. You stole it from him, and you still want to hit him, she demanded, slapping the maid hard across the face. A sharp crack echoed through the room. Seeing her strike, the maid stammered, Miss, I was just supervising his work. I didn't say anything. She drawled lazily. Oh, really? At this moment, he stepped forward, whining and complaining. Mother, you're going to marry someone else. You don't want me anymore, do you? She looked tenderly at her son and comforted him. Don't worry. Even if Mother marries someone else, I will definitely take you with me. Then, she sternly called out the maid's name and declared, Qiu Shu, you have hurt my son time and time again. The Su residents can no longer tolerate you. Pack your things and get out. Qiu Shu cried and pleaded, Miss, if I'm driven out, I'll starve to death. She turned and softly asked him, why aren't you wearing the new clothes I bought you? He replied innocently, I have to work. I don't want to get my new clothes dirty. She said, clothes are meant to be worn. Don't save them. Mother will buy you more. After he changed into his new clothes, she asked, little one, do you want a father? He thought for a moment, remembering how other children shunned him, and said venomously, go away and find your own father. Oh right, your father is also a monster, a hidden freak. He asked hopefully, Mother, if you get married, will I have father? She replied, yes, then more people will like our little Junlin. He mumbled, I just want Mother to like me. She didn't hear him clearly and asked, what did you say? He changed the subject, pointing at the small animal and asking, Mother, can I borrow the little fox to play with? He prayed silently in his heart, please, please, Unfortunately, his wish was not granted. She readily agreed, of course, but the little fox is still injured. You have to take good care of it. He obediently agreed, and took the extremely disgruntled-looking creature. At night, as usual, he confided, "Little fox, you're bad. Why don't you leave? You still want to steal my mother. I hate you." Bailey Shuangye, transformed into a fox, frowned at the boy's actions. "Be good and don't move. It won't hurt for long." Hearing these words, coupled with his previous encounter with this child, he immediately understood that the little devil was planning to torment him again. He struggled free and ran away. Having finally achieved his goal, the boy thought happily, "It's good that you're gone, little fox. It's best if you don't come back." The Bai residence was as usual. Madame Bai asked worriedly, "Master, where has Shuangye gone? What if the emperor thinks we are defying the imperial decree and deliberately hiding him?" At that moment, Bailey Shuangye appeared. "Mother!" Madame Lu cried anxiously, "Son, you're finally back." Mother was so worried. He quickly comforted her. "Mother, I'm fine." Then his father took a sip of tea and said, "I know everything. Why don't we play a trick? You continue to hide, and tomorrow I will petition the emperor to request the cancellation of the marriage." He smiled and refused. "No need, father. I also intend to marry Sui Tang." Hearing his son say this, Master Bai furrowed his brows in surprise. His son actually wanted to marry Sui Tang. He stroked his chin, recalling the brides he had arranged for his son, all of whom had died mysteriously on their wedding nights. This time he took the initiative. Could it be that he truly had feelings for Sui Tang? Master Bai coughed to remind him. "Ahem, what did you just say?" Bailey Shuangye said seriously, "Father, the losses incurred by defying the decree and bringing her back can all be calculated." "Why not?" Master Bai asked why not. He immediately thought of Sui Tang's beautiful sleeping face. He gritted his teeth and suggested why not. "Let's go with the flow and use this marriage to dismantle the Sui family." Hearing this, Master Bai immediately changed his attitude and laughed heartily. Good idea. He stepped forward and patted his son's shoulder, cautioning, "However, remember, you must never let anyone know that you can transform into a fox." He softly replied, Bailey Shuangye quickly returned to the bathroom, his six-pack abs clearly visible. He gently touched the wound on his leg and glanced at the medicine box on the table, thinking, "I almost forgot, the wound hasn't fully healed yet." At this moment, he suddenly remembered Sui Tang's gentle manner as she applied medicine to him, and her innocent and beautiful face. His heart pounded in his chest, and he muttered in confusion, "What's wrong with me? Why do I keep thinking about Sui Tang?" Bailey Shuangye curled up in bed, his mind filled with her image. He gritted his teeth in annoyance. "She's practically haunting me." The next morning, in the main hall, the emperor asked seriously, "Minister Su, Minister Bailey, yesterday, I had the Imperial astronomer calculate an auspicious date for your children. The wedding will be in 3 days. What are your thoughts?" These two, usually at odds with each other, exchanged a meaningful glance before answering, as if seeking each other's opinion. Finally, they both knelt down and said in unison, "We thank your majesty for your grace." The emperor, seeing his goal unmet, frowned in thought. He had wanted to use this marriage to regain some power from them, but he hadn't expected them to agree so readily. However, the emperor still feigned joy, smiling and saying, "Good, good, good. I knew an alliance between your two families would be most suitable." Inwardly, however, he speculated, "These two families have long-standing grievances. I'm afraid they each have their own calculations in agreeing to this marriage. In that case, I'll just sit back and watch the tigers fight." On the night before the wedding, the general's mansion was brightly lit and decorated. Outside, the maids whispered incessantly. The eldest miss got pregnant with a beast child and even gave birth to a stillborn. She can actually still marry into the Bai family as the young madam. Another chimed in. Bailey Shuangye has already married several wives, and all the brides died before even entering the bridal chamber. His reputation isn't good either. These two are a match made in heaven. Sui Tang was sitting while getting her hair done. The maid beside her, while inserting hairpins, said indignantly, "Eldest miss, I'll go make them shut up." Sui Tang frowned and said, "No need. What they're saying isn't wrong." In her heart, however, she thought, "Right now, I just want to quickly find an opportunity to confirm whether Bailey Shuangye is really Su Junlin's biological father. I don't care about anything else." Suddenly, A sharp voice rang out, "You're going to marry young Master Bai." Startled, she looked up. The person who had arrived was Xiao Wanru, the original host's best friend. Xiao Wanru asked loudly, "Are you being forced?" Xiao Wanru angrily grabbed her arm and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm here to save you this time." Sui Tang was stunned. "Save me." In the original plot, it was this Xiao Wanru who caused the original host to lose her virginity before marriage, ruining her reputation and leading to the fifth prince breaking off the engagement. Xiao Wanru patted her chest, feigning concern, and continued to ask, "I know you hate Bai Lixuanji the most. You still like the fifth prince, right? Actually, the fifth prince still has feelings for you." Xiao Wanru smiled insidiously and whispered in her ear, "The fifth prince wants you to go to the small beetle nut grove by the East Lake later." Her expression then changed, and she said viciously, "He wants to elope with you and save you from this fiery pit. See, he still likes you." On the surface, she pretended to be kind, but inwardly she schemed. "Sui Tang, you're already a useless person now. Why do you have such good luck to marry Bai Lixuanji? The more it is like this, the more I want to ruin you." Sui Tang smiled, thinking to herself, "So that's how it is." Back then, the original host believed Xiao Wanru and went to elope with the fifth prince, only to be caught on the spot by Bai Lixuanji. She immediately switched into acting mode, grabbing Xiao Wanru's hand in return and shouting, "Wanru, really?" Sui Tang's eyes sparkled as she asked with a pretense of loyalty, "You said the fifth prince still likes me. Will he marry me?" Xiao Wanru added fuel to the fire, saying, "As long as you leave with the fifth prince tonight, he will definitely marry you." Sui Tang immediately nodded. "Okay, then let's go now." Xiao Wanru, thinking her scheme had succeeded, smiled triumphantly. "Fool, you dare to elope with someone else when you have a marriage contract. This time, I'll make you utterly disgraced." Xiao Wanru deliberately pulled her hand forcefully. "Let's go." Inwardly, however, she cursed, "You dare to scheme against me, Xiao Wanru." Sui Tang pursed her lips, her eyes sharp as knives, and muttered to herself, "I'm no longer the Sui Tang from the book. Just you wait." Xiao Wanru asked while wiping her sweat, "Tang, aren't you going to pack some things?" Sui Tang smiled brightly and said, "I'm about to become a princess. What could I possibly lack?" Hearing this, Xiao Wanru's face darkened, and she gritted her teeth, cursing under her breath. "Dream on. Just enjoy it for a while. Just wait and cry." Soon, Xiao Wanru pointed ahead and said, Tang, we're here. The fifth prince is over there." Sure enough, the fifth prince appeared, calling out enthusiastically, "Sui Tang, you're here." On the surface, he appeared affectionate, but inwardly he gloated. "It seems this foolish woman still likes me. Today, I'll make her pay for humiliating me at the tea house." The fifth prince began his performance. "I know you don't want to marry Bai Lixuanji, so I waited for you here tonight specifically to help you escape the Imperial city." Sui Tang frowned, disgusted inwardly. "Keep making things up. Let's see what kind of story you can spin." He continued to lie. "You also know that as a member of the Imperial family, if I directly take you away, it will damage the Imperial family's reputation. It would be troublesome if someone sees us. So how about this? You swim over first, and then we'll meet up." Sui Tang was so angry she almost fumed. "Xin Yuani, do you think I'm a fool? Making me swim over in the middle of the night. I'll either drown or lose a layer of skin." Fifth prince gloated, "Sui Tang, wearing so many layers, you'll definitely be slow swimming. Why don't you take off your outer garments?" Xiao Wanru stood to the side, a malicious smile playing on her lips, inwardly triumphant. If Sui Tang really takes off her clothes, and Bai Lixuanji and the others show up later, she'll have no way to explain herself. Sui Tang forced a smile. "Fifth prince, you're so thoughtful." He continued, completely oblivious. "Of course, this prince sincerely wants to help you escape this misery." Suddenly, she took a step back and asked, "Fifth prince, aren't you cold standing out here in the middle of the night? You put on a noble air. For you, this prince can endure anything." "That's what I was waiting for." She immediately lifted her 1.5-meter long leg and gave him a powerful kick. Fifth prince was kicked straight into the water. He pursed his lips tightly and looked up with an exasperated expression. Xiao Wanru, witnessing this scene, screamed, Tang, what are you doing? How can you kick fifth prince?" Finding Xiao Wanru a nuisance, Sui Tang casually placed a hand on her shoulder and, without hesitation, pushed her into the water as well, leaving her to shriek. Watching the two of them floundering in the water, Sui Tang smiled with satisfaction. Just then, General Su Zhengxiong hurried over, looking for his daughter. Sui Tang turned and called out, "Father." He said with a doting look, Tang, don't be afraid, father is here." Quick, he hadn't finished speaking when he looked down and froze. What's going on here? Sui Tang calmly fabricated a story. Fifth Prince and Second Miss Ya are like fire and water. They couldn't hold back anymore and are having a grand battle in the water. Hearing this, he clenched his fists in anger. Didn't Fifth Prince say he was going to help you elope? Why is he entangled with another woman? Sui Tang took his arm and explained, Father, don't speak carelessly. I never thought of eloping. I just came to watch the fun. Actually, the person I like most is Bai Lixuanji. As she spoke, Bai Lixuanji appeared right behind her. Sui Tang continued shamelessly, I'm still waiting to marry him. Hearing this, Bai Lixuanji actually blushed, clutching his chest, deeply moved. The accompanying servants couldn't help but murmur. Wasn't it said that Sui Tang was going to elope with someone else? How did it turn into a confession to our young master? Sui Tang turned back to look at Bai Lixuanji with a surprised expression, thinking he must have heard everything. Their eyes met, and their hearts raced. The atmosphere became awkward. Master Bai beamed. Oh my, General Su, are you here to watch the fun too? Why are so many people interested in watching Fifth Prince bathe? He added, hands on his hips. Well, Fifth Prince is quite special now, enjoying honor, wouldn't you say? At this moment, Fifth Prince, shivering, clung to Xiao Wanru and shamelessly shouted, Young Master Bai, you don't know, this Miss Sui invited this prince here. She even tried to seduce me and wanted me to take her out of the Imperial city. A woman like her, with such disregard for propriety, young Master Bai, aren't you afraid of losing face by marrying her? He immediately looked at Sui Tang's expression. She was clearly suppressing a laugh. Bai Lixuanji asked seriously, is that so? If she was trying to seduce you, why are you in the water now? Sui Tang looked over with a surprised expression. Is he helping me? Fifth Prince, still not giving up, continued to make excuses. Of course, it's because this prince didn't want to be seduced by her and preferred to jump into the East Lake. This prince always observes the proper etiquette between men and women, unlike some people who are so casual. Sui Tang was not one to be outdone and immediately retorted, Fifth Prince is indeed virtuous. However, shouldn't you first remove your hand from Second Miss Ya? That might be more convincing. He froze, quickly letting go. However, Xiao Wanru, with a dazed expression, clung to him even tighter, rambling, Fifth Prince, quickly pull me up. It's so dark, anyone could do anything to me. This shameless woman then yelled, Fifth Prince, last time you almost killed me. This time you must be gentler. Everyone was dumbfounded. Sui Tang seized the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. Fifth Prince, if I ever liked you before, I must have been blind. You and Xiao Wanru don't need to go to such lengths to perform this lover's act in the water just to make me give up. It's truly touching. She secretly observed Bai Lixuanji's expression. Anyway, I'm getting married tomorrow, so don't call me over to watch your little show again. It's really cold in the middle of the night. His face turned livid with anger, and he shook Xiao Wanru violently. She finally snapped back to reality. Sui Tang said casually, the Fifth Prince and Second Miss Ya still have important matters to attend to, so we won't disturb you. Father, let's go. Her father didn't forget to remind, Fifth Prince, it's windy by the lake. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry to take off your clothes. Lord Bai also chimed in, Fifth Prince, the weather is so cold. Even if you're exercising, you should keep warm. I'll take my leave now. With that, they left one after another. At this moment, Xiao Wanru was still clinging tightly to his waist, refusing to let go. He cried out helplessly, weren't they here to catch Sui Tang eloping? How'd I get dragged into this in the end? It's not what you think at all. She secretly glanced at him, muttering to herself, what does Bai Lixuanji really look like? That handsome face and that unique silver hair. Suddenly, she tripped over a rock and tumbled forward with a thud. The two fathers walking in front were stunned. Just like that, Sui Tang fell softly into Bai Lixuanji's arms. She peeked at her father, as if pleading for help, feeling utterly embarrassed. But he only returned a furious, you're dead look. Sui Tang simply buried her face in his chest, complaining inwardly, sigh, it's my beauty that's causing all this trouble. Bai Lixuanji raised an eyebrow and asked, Miss Su, do you like me? Sweating profusely, she forced out the words, yes, yes, I like you. Inwardly, she was screaming, you narcissist, if it weren't for the mission, I wouldn't even bother looking at you. He leaned in close and whispered, really. Her eyes widened, thinking, damn, so close is he going to kiss me? He lifted her chin and asked seriously, when you say you like me, are you just saying it casually, or do you have another motive? Panicked, she thought, did he discover something? Sui Tang clutched his lapel, stammering, mo motive. Then, she suddenly kissed him on the cheek. Does this count as a motive? She thought thought to herself, I have to play the part. I'm entering the Bai residence tomorrow. I can't let him get suspicious. Bai Lixuanji froze, touching his cheek as if to confirm. She really kissed me. General Su's face turned red with anger, and he roared, Bai Lixuanji, what are you doing? He forcefully pulled the two apart, scolding, you scoundrel, take your hands off her. He turned and asked with concern, Tang Tang, are you all right? She put on a pitiful expression and said, Father, I think I've twisted my ankle. It hurts so much. It's already swollen. He panicked. I'll carry you home. We'll find a doctor. You'll be fine soon. We're almost home. Her ankle had indeed started to swell, so she said softly, Okay. Bai Lixuanji was still standing there dumbfounded. She glared at him, wanting to see his reaction. General Su carried her on his back, sighing, When you were little, you loved to sit on my shoulders and pretend to ride a horse. Now I'm old. I'm afraid I won't be able to carry you for much longer, my Tang Tang. She said gently, Father, you're not old at all. You'll always be the strongest person in my heart. He asked with concern, Do you really want to marry Bai Lixuanji? If you don't, I'll fight to the death to prevent you from marrying into the Bai family. General Su said with deep emotion, Actually, I know you wanted to elope today, and I'm quite happy about it. I'd rather you run away than suffer in the Bai family. As long as it's someone you love, as long as you're happy, I'll accept it even if you elope. She stared at him, speechless and moved. Sui Tang tugged on his sleeve and said, Father. She comforted him, Don't worry. Even if I marry into the Bai family, I can still come back and visit you. If you miss me, just come and find me. He nodded in agreement. Okay. Late at night, in a simple room, Su Junlin was rummaging through things. Take this with you. Mother will need it. Suddenly, his gaze fell upon an old oil lamp. He said happily, Take this too, in case Mother needs it. He remembered their agreement. Wherever you go, I'll follow. He thought sadly, Mother's getting married tomorrow. He took out a new set of clothes. Tomorrow is Mother's big day. I have to be presentable. As he tried it on, he said happily, We're the new clothes Mother bought me. I can't embarrass Mother. Su Junlin, carrying his luggage, said expectantly, Mother, you must come and get me. Don't leave me alone. Suddenly, two soldiers strode over aggressively, shouting, It's him, take him away. They grabbed him, and he struggled desperately, shouting, Who are you? Let me go. But the two men were tall and strong, and instantly covered his mouth. He could only muffle a cry. Let me go. I'm still waiting for Mother to pick me up. Just as dawn broke, the maid was already calling from outside the door, Miss, it's time to get up and get dressed. Today is your big day. Wishing you a happy marriage and a lifetime of happiness together. She stretched lazily in bed. Let me sleep a little longer. Su Xiong also came knocking. Tang Tang, get up and wash your face, then come and have breakfast. Don't starve yourself. She lazily replied, Okay. Dressed neatly and looking radiant, she walked out and called, Father, I'm here. At the dining table were her second brother, Su Zili, her third brother, Su Shiren, and her younger sister, Su Zhang. Su Xiong urged, Tang Tang, sit down quickly. Look, these are all your favorite dishes. She obediently replied, Yes, Father. Everyone looked at her with doting eyes. Slightly embarrassed, she picked up some food and asked, Father, second brother, third brother, why are you all looking at me? Aren't you going to eat? Her second brother, resting his chin on his hand, said doubtfully, The Su family can certainly afford to support you. Why do you want to marry into that family and suffer? Even if the emperor decrees it, we can defy the decree. The Su family has such strong backing. What are you afraid of? Her third brother chimed in, Tang Tang, is Bai Lixuanji threatening you? Don't be afraid. You have your brothers here. She insisted on her plan, replying, Second brother, third brother, don't worry. With you and Father here, no one dares to bully me. Today is my wedding day. Don't be sad. Besides, the Bai residence isn't far from the Su residence. It's only a few hundred miles. She continued with a smile. At worst, I'll eat lunch at the Bai residence and come back to the Su residence for dinner with everyone. You can also come and visit me often. Her third brother paused, then said, If this is the marriage you want, Tang Tang, then I wish you happiness. She replied excitedly, Thank you, third brother. Her second brother, arms crossed, advised, If Bai Lixuanji treats you badly, just come straight back. Don't stay with him. Do you hear? She obediently replied, I understand. Finally, she put on the magnificent red wedding dress. A maid came to announce, Miss, the auspicious time has arrived. She suddenly frowned and asked, Where's Su Junlin? I sent someone to get him. Why hasn't he returned? She worried, thinking, This marriage is for Su Junlin. I must take him with me. The maid ran in, flustered. Miss, I looked in the woodshed, but I couldn't find young master at all. Sui Tang was startled. What? Go and search the residence immediately. You must find him as soon as possible. Everyone hastily replied, yes. Arriving at Su Junlin's quarters, she picked up his bundle, thinking Su Junlin would never leave the general's residence on his own. His bundle is still here. He must have been taken away. The wedding venue was bustling with noise. Su Xiong was busy entertaining guests when he suddenly heard father. She leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Where have you hidden Su Junlin?" He asked blankly, Tang, what are you talking about? The wedding procession will arrive soon. Don't run around. She said angrily, "Father, where is Su Junlin? If you don't tell me, I won't marry." She thought she could threaten her father, but unexpectedly, he jumped up with joy. Really? Tang, if you don't marry, I'll be overjoyed. Her two brothers echoed, "Father, if our sister doesn't marry, we should have a 3-day, 3-night celebration." She thought for a moment, slowly pulling a hairpin from her hair, thinking, I almost forgot these three are eager for me not to marry by Lishuanji. But I must take Su Junlin to the wedding to complete my mission and go home. She held the hairpin against her neck. "Father, if you don't tell me where Su Junlin is, I'll die right here in front of you." He panicked and quickly pleaded, Tang, stop messing around. I'm already worried that you'll be wronged in the Bai family. If you take a burden that no one wants to see, the Bai family will only treat you worse. I'm doing this for your own good. She didn't budge, demanding loudly, "Father, where is Su Junlin?" He said helplessly, "He's at the military camp, about 10 miles from here. Whether you can get him out or not depends on your ability. Either you marry into the Bai family now, or I return Su Junlin to you. Choose." She said firmly, "Father, I want both." The maid beside her asked anxiously, "Miss, you're not going to elope, are you?" She instructed seriously, "Quickly get me paper, a brush, and an inkstone." She firmly instructed, "If I don't return in time, give this letter to Bai Lishuanji." Sui Tang, looking valiant and heroic, sat astride a horse and asked the maid, "You know where the military camp is, right?" The maid replied, "Miss, I know." After confirming the directions, she kicked her horse and galloped away. The onlookers murmured, "She's about to get married. Where's the eldest Miss Su going? Is she eloping?" She quickly arrived at her destination. The guard was Yu Huin, Su Xiong's adopted daughter. Yu Huin asked with a heroic air, "Miss, isn't today your wedding day? You haven't been to the military camp in over 10 years. Why are you suddenly here?" Sui Tang went straight to the point. "Where's my son? I'm taking him with me." Yu Huin firmly replied, "Miss, the general has given orders. Without his command, no one can take Su Junlin out of the military camp." Sui Tang, unafraid, calmly said, "Then tell me, what do I have to do to take Su Junlin away? Do I have to defeat all of you?" Everyone was shocked, thinking, does the eldest miss know what she's saying? Her meridians have long been destroyed, her martial arts completely gone. She probably can't even beat a new recruit in the barracks. Yu Huin, however, didn't back down, holding her weapon at the ready. "Eldest miss, you don't have to fight everyone. Just compete with me. If you can win, you could take Su Junlin." Sui Tang agreed, without hesitation. "All right," Sui Tang agreed, but added a condition. "I agree to the competition, but we can't use weapons." Yu Huin naturally wouldn't refuse, thinking to herself, although I don't like Su Junlin, I've always admired the eldest miss all these years. If she really wants to take that unlucky child away, I'll let her have her way. The surrounding soldiers whispered amongst themselves, even we men can't beat Huin. This frail eldest miss still wants to challenge her. Isn't she just asking for trouble? Sui Tang scoffed inwardly. Who are you looking down on? In my past life, I was a military medic. My foundation in martial arts and combat is solid, and close combat is my forte. So she made the first move, planning to pretend to fall and concede defeat. "Oh dear, miss, I didn't expect you to be so skilled. I admit defeat. You really showed mercy." Yu Huin stood there, dumbfounded. Sui Tang went over to help her up, taking the opportunity to whisper, "Your acting is too obvious. Even a blind person could see you're going easy on me. If this gets back to my father, you'll be in trouble." She straightened her chest and said confidently, "Just use your normal moves. I can handle it." Yu Huin didn't dare look directly at her, thinking, I can knock out a bull with one punch. How am I supposed to use my normal moves? Yu Huin had no choice but to feign a stomachache and hurriedly ran off. "Oh no, I can't take it. My stomach hurts terribly. I really can't fight. I have to go rest." "Eldest miss, don't go over there. That's a restricted area in the military camp. Absolutely forbidden. Do you hear me?" Sui Tang immediately understood the hint and was secretly delighted. She picked up the key and walked in that direction, thinking, Su Junlin must be locked up here. She was just about to push the door open. Meanwhile, a window in a room opened. Su Junlin, filled with gloom, resented, "Why did you abandon me? Why did you break your promise?" He thought as he climbed down the rope. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Su Junlin." He turned around in a daze and called out, "Mother." Sui Tang anxiously asked, "What are you doing?" He was secretly delighted. It was indeed his mother. She stretched out her hands and comforted him. "Su Junlin, don't do anything foolish. Mother is here. Mother will take you home." He thought, "I just wanted to climb out the window and ask Mother face to face why she lied to me. I was about to explain, but I got distracted, my foot slipped, and the wooden board started creaking." She quickly ran over and shouted, "Su Junlin, be careful." He quickly grabbed the rope and replied, "Phew, Mother, I'm fine." She comforted him, "Little one, hold tight. Mother will save you right away." After saying that, she cleared away the stones and debris with her bare hands. Seeing her actions, he was moved. Mother is clearly injured, but she's still desperately trying to save me. Am I really that important to her? He softly called out Mother and then blamed himself. Mother is so good. I shouldn't have doubted her. She stood on the wooden board and gently comforted him. "Little dumpling, don't cry. Jump into Mother's arms. It's all right. You're safe. Mother will take you away." She hugged the child. He sobbed and said, "Mother, I thought you didn't want me anymore." She said gently, "How could Mother not want you?" and teased him, "You're crying like a little kitten." She softly asked, "Did you hurt yourself grabbing the rope?" As she spoke, she quickly tore off a piece of her skirt. She cheerfully comforted him, "Let Mother stop the bleeding. Bear with it." At this moment, the system prompted. Su Junlin's blackening index decreased by 3%. She thought excitedly, "The blackening index has decreased. It seems I was right to come and save Su Junlin." Mother and son mounted a horse. She said heroically, "Su Junlin, hold on tight. Mother will take you home." Balashwanji had also changed into his groom's attire and was preparing to welcome his bride. The surrounding people all admired his elegance. Young Master Bai is so handsome. If it weren't for his ill-fated marriages, why would he marry Sui Tang? He ignored everyone, focusing only on the letter she had sent. He angrily clenched the letter in his hand. Sui Tang. He frowned and thought, "Is she so sure I'll wait for her forever?" Half an hour passed, and the bride still hadn't appeared. Everyone started gossiping. "The young master has been waiting for Sui Tang for half an hour. Why hasn't she come? Did she really run away from the wedding?" He rode his horse, teeth gritted in anger, and impatiently ordered, "Return to the manor." Suddenly, a voice called out to him, "Wait." Finally, Sui Tang returned. She called his name by Lashwanji. She walked in happily. "Today is my wedding day. Please everyone make way. I'll treat everyone to wedding candies later." He thought irritably, "What a troublesome woman." Sui Tang continued, unfazed, "I knew you would wait for me." At this moment, Balashwanji also saw Su Junlin. He gently suggested, "It's getting late. We should go to the Bai Manor to hold the wedding ceremony." She stammered with a smile, could you wait for me a little longer?" He glared at the two of them. Sui Tang pleaded coquettishly, "Give me the time it takes to burn one stick of incense. Junlin and I will change our clothes. It will be very quick." After saying this, she quickly ran inside, leaving him fuming outside. "Sui Tang, why do you think I would definitely wait for you?" He suddenly remembered the letter Balashwanji had written, "I know you have secrets. Wait for me to return." He suppressed his anger and thought, since she wants to investigate my secrets, why is she marrying into the Bai family? There's no rush. Just then, the time it takes to burn a stick of incense passed. Sui Tang walked out, dressed in a vibrant red wedding gown. General Su's eyes reddened, and he called out, "Tang Tang." She bowed deeply to her father. "Father, I will come back to see you often. You must take care of your health." Her brothers also took turns giving her loving reminders. "Tang Tang, you must remember us." Seeing the tears in Sui Tang's eyes, Balashwanji thought disdainfully, "The Bai Manor is only a few hundred miles from the general's manor. What's there to cry about?" He quickly mounted his horse and loudly ordered, "Return to the manor to welcome the bride." Su Junlin sat beside her and innocently praised, "Mother, you are so beautiful today, the most beautiful person I've ever seen." She gently stroked his head. "Junlin is also very handsome." The system then popped up a notification. Junlin's blackening value decreased by 2%. She smiled with satisfaction. "In such a short time today, Su Junlin's blackening value has decreased so much. Once he receives paternal love, I should be able to return to the real world soon. Just like that, she entered the Bai Manor with great fanfare. First, she bowed to heaven and earth. During the ceremony, she thought to herself, I never thought my first marriage would be to a character from a novel, and to such a super handsome man like Bai Lixuanji. The sound of ceremonial music filled the air. The second bow was to the elders, followed by the couple bowing to each other. He kept a close eye on her every move. Sui Tang, dragging a limping leg, turned around. Finally, the ceremony was over. After the ceremony, they were led to the bridal chamber. Her face was full of a happy smile, making him suspicious as he stood to the side. The room was brightly lit by candles. An old beau walked in and said, Miss Su, Madam specifically sent me to teach you some knowledge and techniques for the wedding night. She took a sip of hot tea and refused, cough, cough, no need. The old beau asked in surprise, Miss Su, do you think you are very experienced? Then she muttered to herself, but Miss Su gave birth a few years ago, so she does no more than the average young lady. She smiled slyly without hesitation. That's right. I also know 365 variations. Oh, you are old. Why don't I teach you a few tricks? Maybe you can experience spring again. The old beau was rendered speechless by her words, her voice stammering. Why you dare to say such things? She casually teased. Does the Bai family need someone to teach this to? Is your young master not capable? Then Vivok should go teach your young master. Only by teaching him will tonight's wedding night not be too boring. At this moment, Bai Lixuanji was standing outside the door, having heard everything she said. His face flushed red with anger, and he stormed in. Sui Tang was startled. Bai Lixuanji, why are you here? Did you hear everything? He retorted aggressively. This is my room. Why can't I be here? Sui Tang said awkwardly. Then can you go out for a bit? He strode forward, pushed her onto the bed, and said, Tonight is our wedding night, and you're asking me to leave. Pinned beneath him, unable to move, she answered frantically, and he roughly held her hands down. He then teasingly caressed her beautiful face and whispered, Tonight, which move are you planning to use first? Or are you going to use them all? Sui Tang didn't panic. Instead, she playfully retorted, What I do isn't the point. I'm just worried that our young master is too pure-hearted and might not be able to handle it. He pinched her face angrily, frowning and threatening. Sui Tang, do you think this is still the Sui Manor? This is the Bai Manor. You better keep your mouth shut. She calmly brushed his hand away. She retorted, not to be outdone, they all say you're cursed to kill your wives. Could it be that your previous wives discovered your inadequacy, and that's why you silenced them? Before she could finish, he kissed her. Shocked, her eyes widened. Bai Lixuanji actually kissed me. Doesn't he hate me? My sworn enemy. Then he wiped his mouth and said coldly, It seems I really do have to shut you up to stop you from being so annoying. She was dumbfounded. He kissed me and ran. Come back here, you jerk. She roared inwardly. That was this young lady's first kiss. He turned back and threatened, Do you want me to teach you how to control your mouth? She stubbornly pouted, thinking to herself, The book says my son's father has a birthmark on his chest. Today, I must investigate Bai Lixuanji. Sui Tang suddenly grabbed his collar, boldly pushing him onto the bed, and said triumphantly, Bai Lixuanji, you've gotten a great bargain. I also have to get something from you. Bai Lixuanji grabbed her arm in return, instantly reversing the situation, pinning her down on the bed. He said coldly, I'm not interested in you. I advise you not to have any ideas about my body. Sui Tang froze, her eyes darting around. I didn't do anything. I just wanted to see if you had abs. He was speechless. Madam, please behave yourself. Disappointed, she said, Are you that stingy? Would it kill you to let me have a look? Just then, because of her previously sprained leg, she couldn't straighten it and cried out in pain, Ouch, my leg. His expression softened as he stared at her swollen injury, a flicker of pity in his heart. Then he stood up coldly and left, flicking his sleeves. Sui Tang continued to curse behind him, that block of ice, turning around and leaving without a shred of sympathy. She looked down at her leg, worried, I think it's broken. Damn, Bai Lixuanji, nothing good ever happens when I run into him. If it weren't for getting home, who would want to marry him? Just then, Bai Lixuanji returned with the physician, Xiao Yizhao. He instructed Xiao Yizhao, take a look at her. Xiao Yizhao teased. Injured on your wedding night, Shuangya, you're really something. Be gentler with the lady next time. Sui Tang blushed furiously, and Bai Lishuanji became anxious. Stop talking nonsense. Just look at her. After a careful examination, Xiao Yizhao said, "You've injured the bone. I'll give you 2 bottles of ointment. Remember to apply it." Xiao Yizhao enthusiastically suggested, "Try not to move around too much until it's healed. Rest in bed." Tao Yao, as a doctor, I know how to make the medicine absorb quickly. How about I help you? Bai Lishuanji immediately snatched the ointment and said coldly, "I don't need your help with the medicine. Since you're done, you can leave." Xiao Yizhao tactfully said, "Then I'll go have a drink." He gently lifted her leg, startling her. "What are you doing?" He said coldly, applying the medicine. Bai Lishuanji asked gently, "Sui Tang, what was the secret you mentioned in the letter today?" She smiled brightly. I just wrote something random, afraid you wouldn't wait for me." "Did you really fall for it?" Before she could finish, he suddenly squeezed her leg hard, and she cried out in pain. "Ouch, be gentle." He asked angrily, "Are you testing me?" "Sui Tang, why did you agree to marry me?" She continued to feign innocence. "What other motive could I possibly have? I just like you." Bai Lishuanji didn't believe her at all and pinched her chin, saying, "You and I have been sworn enemies since childhood. Liking each other is impossible. You should give up that little thought, otherwise you'll suffer the consequences." She puffed up her cheeks, mimicking his words. "Liking each other is impossible. Good. This young lady wouldn't like a blockhead like you anyway." Sui Tang stretched on the bed, muttering, "What a narcissist." The night was as dark as ink. Sui Tang woke up in a daze. She saw that Bai Lishuanji had turned into a fox. Her eyes narrowed as she recognized him. Isn't that the fox that escaped before? Could it be Bai Lishuanji? She stared at him in shock, smelling a strong scent of alcohol. The book said that Bai Lishuanji had demon blood in him. Could it be that he reveals his true form when he drinks? She suddenly seized the opportunity and ripped open his clothes. Ignoring everything else, while he was drunk, she decided to take off all his clothes and see if he had a birthmark. But before she could do anything, he grabbed her arm. The drunken Bai Lishuanji slurred, You're my wife." His words filled her mind with question marks. Suddenly, his cheeks flushed, and he said softly, I just want my wife to touch me." She replied, somewhat speechlessly, "Of course we got married today. I'm naturally your wife." He suddenly turned into a cheerful child, chirping, "Wife likes me, darling, touch me." Sui Tang was stunned by his behavior. She had always thought Bai Lishuanji would remain as cold as an iceberg his whole life, but now he was acting spoiled with her. She patted his head awkwardly, thinking he was adorable. Suddenly, a sly smile appeared on her lips. It was the perfect opportunity to take advantage of his cuteness and trick him into taking off his clothes. Thinking of this, Sui Tang said gently, "It's getting late, Bai Lishuanji. Shall we go to sleep?" He suddenly became alert, like a startled fawn, asking, "Sleep? Wife, do you want a child?" She quickly pushed him away, explaining, we're just sleeping, nothing else." He mumbled softly, "But wife, there are 2 ways to sleep. One is to sleep quietly, the other is to sleep passionately." She instantly transformed from a little white rabbit into a roaring lioness, yelling, "Bai Lishuanji, are you pretending to be innocent to play me?" He immediately turned into a kitten, burrowing into the covers, whispering, "Wife, don't be angry. I'll be a good kitten and sleep quietly. I promise not to make a fuss." Seeing this, she could only sit by the bed and watch him sleep, waiting for him to fall asleep so she could take off his clothes and check for the birthmark. But after waiting for a long time, she ended up falling asleep holding him. After an unknown amount of time, Bai Lishuanji slowly woke up. He rubbed his head, thinking, I'm always wary of everyone when I'm in my fox form. Why did I approach Sui Tang on my own? Looking at her still asleep, he used magic to erase her recent memory, thinking, I can't let her know that I've become a half-demon fox. The next morning, Sui Tang yawned repeatedly. The maid beside her reminded, Miss, according to custom, you should serve tea to the groom's family today, but they haven't arrived yet. She replied indifferently, I've done what I should. No one dares to have any objections to the Su family. They're just playing dumb. Let's go. At this moment, someone called her Miss Su. She turned around in surprise. Who are you? A frail young woman walked forward, her voice weak. Miss Su, don't you remember me? I'm Bai Shuqing, Shuangya's cousin. She frowned in recollection, thinking, Ah, it's her. The novel mentioned that Bai Shuqing had been frail and sickly since she was 13 and had been living in the Baili residence. She was the green tea who was madly in love with Bai Lishuanji. Sui Tang forced a smile and asked, "What can I do for you?" Bai Shuqing put on a pitiful look and said, "Brother got married yesterday, but I was sick in bed and couldn't attend. Please forgive me, Miss Su." Sui Tang generously replied, "Don't blame yourself. Your health is more important." Bai Shuqing sweetly took out a sachet, saying, "Miss Su, you married my brother, and I don't have any valuable gifts. This is a sachet I embroider myself. If Miss Su likes it." She frowned inwardly. In Tiandu Kingdom, men and women exchange personal items when expressing their feelings. Bai Shuqing must know this. Bai Shuqing continued with a smile, "I heard that Miss Su has practiced martial arts since childhood and doesn't like needlework, and the Baili family is a scholarly family. The elders shouldn't blame me. I only know how to do this. This sachet is for you, and the other one is for my brother. Just say you made it. If Yinyang finds out, he'll be secretly happy." Sui Tang thought helplessly. She's right. I can't refuse in this situation, but I don't want to accept it either. What should I do? At this moment, Bai Lishuanji walked in. As soon as Bai Shuqing saw him, she called out weakly, "Brother Shuangye, you're here." She hurried to him and stammered, "Brother Shuangye, this is a sachet that Miss Su embroidered herself. She wants to give it to you." He looked at her suspiciously and asked, "You can embroider? Are you kidding me?" Sui Tang honestly said, "No, your cousin gave it to me." Bai Shuqing called out awkwardly, "Miss Su." He immediately handed the sachet back to Sui Tang, saying, "Shuqing, you're not well. Don't waste your energy. This kind of thing is for women. Don't give it to me. Keep it for yourself. Don't waste Shuqing's efforts." Hearing this, Sui Tang secretly praised him. This cute little Bai Lishuanji is quite eloquent. This way, he doesn't embarrass Shuqing, nor does he give her any false hope. Suddenly, he leaned closer to her and whispered, "Sui Tang, I gave you a gift. Shouldn't you give me something in return?" She angrily snatched the sachet and said loudly, "Fine, here you go. I've already married you. I'm your precious wife. What else do you want from me? I'll give you a congratulatory gift when you marry again next time." Bai Lishuanji wouldn't be outdone. He grabbed her hand and questioned, "You just married me yesterday, and you're already thinking about divorce today. Explain yourself." She teased, "I can't embroider sachets. I can only give people hickeys. Do you want one?" He had a headache listening to her and asked, "What's that?" She wrapped her arms around his neck and said, "This is it." Then she kissed his neck hard and casually asked, "Do you think this hickey looks good?" Bai Lishuanji blushed, angrily questioning Sui Tang, "Who allowed you to kiss my neck?" Sui Tang retorted, "You kissed me last night too, so we're even." Bai Shuqing was shocked to hear this. His brother Shuangye had actually kissed Sui Tang on his own initiative. He turned around and warned in a fatherly tone, "Sui Tang, I won't allow you to do this to others, especially not to me." Sui Tang playfully laughed, "No way. I'm going to plant 100 hickeys on you, in the shape of a big heart." She excitedly shouted, "Katie, let's go to Su Junlin's place. It's right behind the Baili residence." At this moment, Su Junlin, emanating black energy, was choking a little boy. Sui Tang, seeing you knock him to the ground, yelled, "Su Junlin." She shouted, "Stop." You froze, surprised, and cried out, "Mother." She calmly pulled your hand away. Su Junlin, worried and afraid of being scolded, said, "Mother." Contrary to what you expected, she gently embraced you, comforting you. It's all right, Su Junlin. Mother is here. Can you calm down a bit?" You felt guilty, your eyes darting around as you said, "Mother." Thinking, what do? I almost did something bad. Did Mother see everything? You looked sadly at your hands, your face darkening, gritting your teeth in self-reproach. Mother finally showed me some care. If she sees that I'm a bad child, she'll definitely hate me. She continued gently, "Junlin, you can tell Mother." Before she could finish, you blurted out, "I'm sorry, Mother." She nodded understandingly, took a step back, and said, "I was wrong. I'll go apologize to him now, and even kneel down." Sui Tang still calmly embraced you and asked, "No, tell me what happened first." You looked into the distance, recalling the events. At that time, Su Junlin was excitedly kneading mud, happily thinking. Mother's favorite little fox ran away. I can make one out of mud for her. I wonder if Mother will like my gift. The little fox you made was very beautiful. Suddenly, a little brat appeared, acting all high and mighty. Who allowed you here? This is my territory. Su Junlin asked amicably. There's mud here. Do you want to play together? The little brat rudely swatted your hand away and arrogantly said, so dirty. This is my territory. You can't play here without my permission. Poor Su Junlin asked, can I just finish making this little fox? and then I'll leave. Not only did the little brat not give in, but he also pinched your ears hard. Your ears are so ugly. Su Junlin's eyes welled up with tears from the pain, covering his ears with his clothes as he pleaded, "My ears are injured. Don't pull them." The little brat crossed his arms, his face full of disdain. Demons are the lowest of the low in our Tiandu kingdom. You're not even as good as livestock, and you dare to dirty my territory. Now I want you to eat all the mud on the ground, and this ugly fox too. Saying that, he reached out to grab Su Junlin's little fox, and you angrily stopped him. "Don't touch my little fox." But he wouldn't listen, and he stomped on it. Seeing this, you gritted your teeth in anger. After finishing the story, Su Junlin said sadly, "Mother, that's what happened. If I kneel down and apologize, he'll forgive me." "Mother, please don't be angry." Suddenly, Sui Tang called out, "Son." Then she extended her hand. You instinctively flinched back in fear, but she said firmly, "You did nothing wrong. Don't kneel. Do you hear me?" She gently caressed your face, and you were stunned. Her tone changed, becoming stern. "However, Mother is indeed very angry." You became worried. She continued angrily, "What makes me angry is that I just married into the Bailey residence, and someone here dares to humiliate my son." She looked at the little brat and asked loudly, "Tell me, who told you to do this?" He was so scared that he sat on the ground, pretending to be the victim. "You're all bad people. How dare you bully me? I'm gonna find my dad and have him beat you to death." Hearing this, Su Junlin suddenly felt wronged. He has a dad to back him up, but I don't. If I hit someone, what if the Bailey family makes things difficult for Mother? I really am a bad child. But she didn't blame you. Instead, like a big sister, she comforted you. "It's okay, I don't blame you. From now on, if anyone bullies you, you fight back. If anything happens, I'll take care of it." Suddenly, a maidservant walked over haughtily and said, "Miss Su, you have quite the nerve. A demon hitting my son is a capital offense." "Miss Su, if you let a demon hit someone, and if the madam finds out, I'm afraid you won't be able to stay in the Bailey residence either." That arrogant maidservant was Qing He, by Shu Qing's personal maid, and the little brat was Zhu Xiaohu. Su Junlin worriedly stood in front of his mother. "You bravely took responsibility. I hid him. It has nothing to do with my mother. If you have the guts, come at me." She sneered. "This little bastard has some backbone. It's a pity his mother doesn't appreciate it." Qing He continued to taunt you. "She's letting you run wild. She's definitely trying to use others to get you kicked out of the Bailey residence. What kind of good person could she be?" Su Junlin didn't believe her, but he still firmly shouted, protecting his mother, "No, Mom is the best person in the world. Mom is the best." She stood behind him, deeply moved. He was so small, clearly frightened and frozen, yet he unhesitatingly stood in front of her to protect her. It was this turbulent era and his own family that had pushed him into darkness. He was such a good child. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "I've never been a mother, but I think Su Junlin and I can become a real mother and son. I want him to know he's not disliked by everyone. He deserves to be loved." Qing He sharply ordered Zhu Xiaohu, "Beat him to death now. No one will say a word." Sui Tang's gaze instantly sharpened like a knife. Zhu Xiaohu fiercely charged forward. "You're a monster. I'm going to beat you to death." She didn't stay idle either, immediately rolling up her sleeves. "All right, today Mom will teach you how to fight back." Su Junlin gripped his stick, his eyes wide, and his mouth rounded in surprise. At the same time, Sui Tang had already kicked Qing He, threatening sharply, "You want to touch my son? You'll have to ask me first." Just like that, the two women grappled like madwomen. The two little boys weren't idle either, tumbling and wrestling. Qing He yelled, "Murder! Help!" Bai Xuanji happened to walk by and sternly asked Sui Tang, "What are you doing?" Bai Xuqing was also beside him, gentle and serene. Qing He lay on the ground, crying and accusing Mississippi young master. "Miss, save me. She's trying to kill me." Sui Tang only sneered. The villain complains first. Bai Xuqing pretended to speak gently. Qing He, don't be rude, quickly apologized to Miss Su. But Qing He stubbornly retorted, "Miss, why should I be afraid of this trash?" Bai Xuqing said softly, "Miss Su, I apologize." Qing, he is too presumptuous. Sui Tang replied, "You didn't anger me. You don't need to apologize to me." Bai Xuanji calmly asked Sui Tang, "What happened?" She frowned, voicing her thoughts. "Bai Xuanji, even if Su Junlin is a monster, since I'm marrying you, he's considered your son. This girl dares to insult my son so casually. Can the servants of the Bailey Manor make their own decisions now?" He didn't answer, only staring at Su Junlin. The child looked exactly like him in his fox form, even more refined and intelligent. It seemed the rumors weren't credible. Sui Tang clearly loved him very much. He continued to make false accusations from the side. Young master, that monster bullied my son and almost beat him to death. Miss Su didn't teach the monster well, so I just gave her a few reminders. Who knew Miss Su would yell and scream and try to kill me and my son? It's terrifying. Su Junlin quickly understood she was lying. He mustered his courage, tugged on by Lishuanji's sleeve, and called out, "Young master." Young master. He tearfully recounted the events. Zhu Xiaohu broke the gift I want to give to mom, and he hit me first, so I fought back. I know hitting people is wrong. You can hit me, punish me, even drive me away. He glanced at Sui Tang. But please don't blame mom. It has nothing to do with her. Bala Xuanji asked coldly, "Being hit, being punished, you're not afraid?" The child tearfully replied firmly, "I'm not afraid. You can punish me however you want." He then held out his bruised and bleeding hand. "It hurts." Shuangya's heart softened. He grasped the child's hand and asked, "Who did this?" Su Junlin immediately pointed at Zhu Xiaohu. He stepped on it. Zhu Xiaohu, sweating profusely, quickly denied, "You're lying. I didn't step on you." He was exposed. He interjected from behind, "Young master, this little monster is clearly lying. My son is always kind and never hits anyone." Shuangya said indifferently, "All right, let the children settle their own matters." He triumphantly put her hands on her hips. "Thank you, young master. Since this little monster hit my son first, I'll let Xiaohu retaliate. Here we go again." Sui Tang angrily snatched the wooden stick back, roaring by Lishuanji. He stopped her, asking Sui Tang, "Are you going to protect him no matter what happens? Wherever you are, you should trust him and let him learn to handle things himself." Easy for him to say. How could her child learn while being beaten? Zhu Xiaohu took the opportunity to punch Su Junlin hard. "You hit me just now? I'm going to beat you into a pig's head." Sui Tang angrily waved her arms. "Su Junlin, why didn't you dodge?" Shuangya held her tightly, persuading Sui Tang. Being so stubborn won't do him any good. She glared at him, stating firmly, "He's not your own flesh and blood. Of course you don't care. From today onwards, I'm taking him to the front courtyard. As long as I'm here, no one is allowed to bully my son." Good for her standing her ground. Zhu Xiaohu yelled frantically, "The young master won't care if you live or die. I'm going to beat this little monster to death in front of your mother." That's going too far. Su Junlin's eyes suddenly changed. Oh, someone was about to face retribution. He finally retaliated, landing a solid punch right in Zhu Xiaohu's face. "Bam, a headshot." He said smugly, "I'll let you hit me that first time, but you shouldn't have pushed it by hitting me again. So this is payback." With that, he turned and walked away coolly. Sui Tang breathed a sigh of relief. So the boy hadn't initiated the fight. It was all planned. Bala Xuanji was also satisfied with his performance. See, he can handle himself. Sui Tang, worried about her son, rushed over and asked, "Are you okay? Does it hurt?" Suddenly, Bala Xuanji spoke. "Sui Tang, didn't you say you wanted him to stay with you?" They both froze, unsure of his intentions. He continued, "Before I change my mind, hurry up and move his things over." Overjoyed, they exclaimed, "Wonderful. What a stroke of luck." Their joy lasted less than 3 seconds before someone stepped forward to object. "I disagree." Oh, who was it this time, raining on their parade? Madame Lu approached, her face grim. Both of them quickly bowed. "Mother," she said sternly, "Yitong, the heavenly capital kingdom has rules. Demons are of low status and cannot live in your main courtyard." Bala Xuanji glanced at Sui Tang and replied firmly, "Mother, I've already promised Sui Tang. I can't go back on my word." She took Bai Shuqing's hand and commanded, "Fine. If you insist on bringing that demon into the main courtyard, then Qinghe will also move into your courtyard." Qinghe shyly declined. "Aunt cough cough, Brother Shuangya is already married. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to move in." He said frantically, "Mother." Before he could finish, she sternly interrupted, "You have your decision, and I have mine." Bala Xuanji turned anxiously to Sui Tang and asked, "What do you think?" She was taken aback, speechless. I have nothing to say. I respect Mother's decision." Inwardly, she thought, this isn't the Sui residence anyway, so it's pointless to argue. Bala Xuanji left with a dark expression, while Sui Tang enthusiastically attended to Su Junlin. Come on, let's pack your things." He immediately replied, "Okay." Entering the courtyard, Su Junlin's eyes widened in amazement. Wow, this room is huge. She spread her arms wide. That's Mother's room across the way. We'll be able to see each other every day now. Are you happy? He replied excitedly. Happy. Just then, Kai-Dai rushed in, shouting, Mississippi, come back to your room and see. Confused, Sui Tang nodded. All right. At that moment, blood-red characters suddenly appeared on the screen. She asked angrily, who's playing this prank? Sui Tang reached out to touch it. The maid beside her asked worriedly, Miss, could that be human blood? She brought it closer to her nose and sniffed. It's blood, but I'm not sure if it's human. Kai-Dai suddenly reported, everyone's talking about it, saying that the Bai Li family's demon has returned. Miss, is there really a ghost? Sui Tang pondered. A demon. Could it be him? The books mentioned that Bai Xuanji had a younger brother named Bai Fuchu. Twisted from a young age, he was driven out of the house at 10 and became a taboo subject within the Bai Li household. She racked her brain. But why would he seek me out for no reason? Suddenly, a hand clapped heavily on her shoulder. Startled, she struggled desperately, but the hand held on tight. She fought back harder. Let go of me. Turning around, she saw that it was Bai Xuanji. He asked angrily, who did you think it was? Sui Tang quickly said, Bai Xuanji, someone sent you a wedding gift. Seeing the familiar handwriting, he froze, recognizing it as Bai Fuchu's. Puzzled, he said, it seems my brother is very pleased with you, sister-in-law. He thought to himself, Bai Fuchu's appearance was no coincidence. Clearly, Sui Tang had caught his attention. Could there be something special about her identity? Sui Tang blinked. That's possible. After all, your brother is so thoughtful, wishing us a happy marriage. He asked worriedly, aren't you afraid he'll suddenly appear and kill you? She replied confidently, I'm afraid I'm too beautiful. He won't be able to bring himself to do it and will fall in love with me instead. Bai Xuanji ordered with a dark expression, take this screen away. The servant immediately replied, yes. With the matter resolved, Sui Tang calmly turned to leave. But he called out to her, don't go. She said impatiently, my son just moved in. There's a lot to do. He suddenly asked, I let Su Junlin stay here. Shouldn't you repay me? She asked awkwardly, how should I repay you? Bai Xuanji leaned closer. I want to take a bath now. Sui Tang agreed without hesitation. A bath. A bath is no problem. She thought to herself, taking a bath means taking off clothes. I'll have another chance to confirm the birthmark on his chest. He ordered coldly, prepare the water yourself. She replied resignedly, fine, young master. Just wait. Soon, a tub of hot water was prepared. He got in the water fully clothed and told her to pour the water. As she poured, she said irritably, taking a bath with your clothes on. You're really delicate. Suddenly, he grabbed her hand. She fell into Bai Xuanye's arms, her hands landing on his chest as she babbled, are you crazy? I have absolutely no interest in your body. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to maintain her composure. Don't think you can use some kind of honey trap, like a young year or something. He caressed her face and asked, Sui Tang, I'm a little curious about your identity. Why did you marry into this family? She muttered helplessly. What other reason could there be? Of course, it's to find a father for my son. Bai Xuanye threatened coldly, it better be true. If I find out you're lying to me, I'll kill your son. With that, he dressed and left, leaving Sui Tang fuming. You madman. You really are Su Junlin's biological father. You'll regret this. You iceberg. 2 days later, Sui Tang came to his room and suggested, Junlin, I'm going back to my parents' house today. Since we're married, do you want to go back to Suyun Manor with me? He rubbed his eyes and asked innocently, Mother, can I stay at the Bai Li residence? She readily agreed, of course. I'll leave Kai-Dai here to accompany you. She saw right through him. The child must be worried that he would be hidden away by General Su again if he returned to the Su residence. Hearing this, he cheered happily. Thank you, Mother. At the Su residence, a servant announced, Eldest Miss is back. Eldest Miss is back. General Su hurried out excitedly. Tung-Ting, my daughter. Suddenly, his tone changed. My daughter is just back for a visit. What are you doing here? She looked up in surprise to find Bai Xuanye standing close by. Didn't he say he wasn't coming? He said politely, father-in-law, as Sui family's son-in-law, Xuanye naturally has to accompany Yitong back for a visit. He suddenly called his sons together, stroking his beard, wanting to make things difficult for him. Second son, third son, according to our family rules, if you want to enter the Su family, you must first win a martial arts competition against us. He thought smugly, a frail scholar. Even if my sons are crippled, they can still beat him. But Bai Xuanye didn't back down and immediately agreed. All right. Thus, a fierce competition unfolded. Of course, the gory details will be omitted. Everyone can guess that victory ultimately favored our male protagonist. At the dinner table, her two brothers still looked shocked. She smiled brightly, comforting them. Haha, second brother, third brother, thank you for letting Bali Shuangya win. Come, let's eat. At that moment, a soldier rushed in frantically, shouting, General. He slammed the table and stood up, panicked. What? He broke into the forbidden grounds. Then he turned back, forcing a smile. Tungting, father has something to deal with. You eat first, and we'll go back later. She replied obediently, yes, father. But in her heart, she was speculating the Su family's forbidden grounds. Besides father, anyone else who enters is dead. Bali Shuangya won the competition, but suddenly disappeared. Could father be talking about him? Sure enough, his arm was injured, his eyes tightly closed, his face full of pain. He swayed weakly. Fortunately, Sui Tang appeared in time and shouted, Bali Shuangya. He asked in confusion, Sui Tang, why are you here? She grabbed his hand and quickly led him away. If you don't want to be discovered by my father, come with me. Once inside the room, she said anxiously, don't move. I'll get the medicine box and treat your wounds. Bali Shuangya frowned in confusion. I don't understand. Why would Sui Tang risk saving me? Could she really like me? But at this moment, she was staring intently at his chest. Another good opportunity to peek at Bali Shuangya's birthmark. She suggested eagerly, why don't you take off your clothes? It'll be easier to apply the medicine that way. He coldly rolled up his sleeve. No need. Just apply it like this. Sui Tang enthusiastically insisted, it's still easier if you take it off. Bali Shuangya looked speechless, guarding his body like jade, and rudely pushed her face away. He took the medicine box. You're too slow. She carefully applied the medicine to his wound. Then she gently blew on it, prompting him to look at her with doting eyes. Sui Tang said innocently, my son says it doesn't hurt when I apply medicine like this. I wonder if it works for you. Outside, General Su called, Ting, are you there? She hurriedly pushed Bali Shuangya down. Oh no, father's here. He asked in surprise. Sui Tang, what are you doing? She quickly covered his mouth. Shh, don't make a sound. General Su urged anxiously. Tung, if you don't answer, I'm coming in. The two remained in a compromising position, Bali Shuangya blushing. General Su and his sons burst in. Ting, my daughter, little sister. Witnessing this spectacular scene, they praised repeatedly. Our Su family's daughter is truly impressive. She tried to cover his wound, then turned to face her family. Father, why are you all here? Bali Shuangya blushed, asking. Ting, you just... Sui Tang, acting like a seasoned pro, immediately made up an excuse. Father, you have no idea how outrageous Bali Shuangya is. He actually dared to eat all of my favorite sweet shrimp. She confidently played the role of the domineering female lead. I had to teach him a lesson. If you hadn't arrived so soon, you might have been bullied to tears by me. Hearing this, Su Songhai was overjoyed. Our Su family must always be a step above the Bali family. From now on, bully that Bali boy relentlessly. If he doesn't obey, beat him up. I'll take care of anything that happens. Don't be afraid. Sui Tang put on the air of a gold digger. Dad, I'm just a little interested in Bali Shuangya right now. Once I'm tired of him, I'll kick him to the curb. This made Su Songhai even happier. That's right. After you're done with that Bali boy, Dad will find you a good husband. She suddenly changed the subject. I tore Bali Shuangya's clothes. Can you lend me a clean set? He reluctantly agreed. For your sake, I'll give him some charity this once. With the matter settled, Sui Tang breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, I finally got through that. She turned and called out Bali Shuangya. At this moment, Bali Shuangya was furious, staring at her with daggers in his eyes. Interested, tired of me. This Sui Tang woman always says she likes me. She's such a good actress. Sui Tang asked nervously, why are you looking at me like that? This is my father's robe. Put on to cover your wounds. But he stubbornly turned his head away, pouting. Sui Tang could only tease. Hey, do you want me to help you put it on? He snatched the robe and said coldly, get out. Sui Tang said disappointedly, fine, I'll go out. Why are you so fierce? Come on, let's go back to the Bali residence. We've been out for half a day. I want to see my son. Bali Shuangya still ignored her. Sui Tang thought helplessly, what did I do to offend him this time? Back at the Bali residence, she hurried to her son's room and called out, Junlin. The maid replied, Miss, the young master has gone out. He's not in his room. She asked in surprise. The young master went out to play with Miss Bai. Kaidai went with him too. Hearing this, her eyes widened. Bai Shucheng. How did Junlin go out with Bai Shucheng? At this time, Su Junlin was studying seriously. Miss Bai, I'm not good at embroidering this pattern. Can you teach me? She replied enthusiastically, of course, cough, cough. She demonstrated as she spoke. Here, I'll embroider the outer outline for you first, and then you can follow the pattern. Su Junlin thanked her innocently. Thank you, Miss Bai. Today you helped me chase away Orange Little Tiger and taught me how to embroider a scarf for my mother. You're such a good person. Bai Shuqing patted his head affectionately. Junlin, you're my friend. She took the opportunity to whisper in his ear, Junlin, I've said before, you're practically half of Shuangye's son. You can call me Aunt Bai from now on. He shyly covered his ears with his robe, but she still gently pulled him. Junlin, although you are the child of a human and a demon, you are still my friend. You don't have to be afraid in front of me, and you don't have to hide anything, understand? Hearing this, he was extremely moved. Miss Bai, the two became close just like that. Junlin, what do you want to embroider? Begonia flowers. Mother likes begonia flowers. She embroidered as she praised him. Junlin is so filial and sensible. If I had a child like you, I would be very happy. He said sadly, but I'm not a normal person in Tindu. Mother is also looked down upon by others. Bai Shuqing looked at him and said seriously, that's not your fault, Junlin. You can't choose your parents, and you can't choose where you're born. It's not your fault. It's the fault of the person who gave birth to you, but didn't take responsibility. It's the world's fault. Sure enough, these words touched him. This world, his expression suddenly changed, and black energy began to appear around him. He stared at his hands. I always thought it was my fault, that I was bad. I never thought it was this world that made me like this. After a while, she handed him the embroidered scarf. Here you go. The overall pattern is embroidered. Junlin just needs to follow it. If you don't understand, ask me again. Hearing this, he said seriously, okay, I understand. But he accidentally pricked his finger. She asked anxiously, you're bleeding. She gently put his finger in her mouth to suck the blood. He stared blankly, his eyes wide and his mouth open. Miss Bai. At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open roughly. Sui Tang rushed in anxiously and hugged her son, asking unhappily, Bai Shuqing, what are you doing to my son? She coughed a few times and replied, cough, 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 Miss Sui, don't worry. Junlin's finger was bleeding. I was just helping him stop the bleeding. He innocently raised his hand. Mother, I'm fine. Look, the bleeding has stopped. She asked discontentedly, that needle, did she prick you with it? He immediately defended her. Mom, Bai Shuqing didn't bully me. She was very nice to me, gave me lots of yummy food, and said she wanted to be friends with me. Hearing this, Sui Tang stroked her chin, thinking, why would Bai Shuqing want to be friends with Su Junlin? No matter how you look at it, Su Junlin isn't an ideal friend, neither in status nor age. Does she have another motive? Bai Shuqing also explained, Miss Sui, your son is very well-behaved and cute. I really like him. Don't worry, I won't hurt him. Sui Tang picked up Su Junlin, her tone laced with a threat. If my son loses a single hair, I'll make you regret it. Bai Shuqing said coquettishly, I know. Seeing him just reminds me of my younger brother. How could I bear to hurt him? On the way back, she casually asked the child, were you with Miss Bai today? Su Junlin widened his eyes and answered mysteriously, Mom, it's a secret. I can't tell you yet. You'll find out in a few days. Sui Tang thought to herself, it's a secret he can't even tell his mother, yet he refuses to elaborate. Su Junlin added, Miss Bai said if I told you, you wouldn't be surprised. Sui Tang stroked her chin, feeling that this secret seemed to be related to her. She instructed, honey, Bai Shuqing isn't very healthy, so don't bother her too much. If you need anything or encounter any problems, come to Mom, okay? Su Junlin obediently agreed. Okay, Mom. When you finish knitting my scarf, I won't bother Miss Bai anymore. She picked him up and praised. What a good boy. Let's go home and eat. You've been playing all day, and you're all dirty. Let's go take a bath. Su Junlin happily hugged his mother, his heart full of happiness. Being with Mom is so nice. As night fell, Su Junlin shyly said, Mom, I could take a bath by myself. After saying that, he immediately closed the door, leaving Sui Tang stunned. This child is already shy at such a young age. A short while later, he came running to her, clean after his bath. Sui Tang carefully dried his hair and couldn't help but nag. Why are you wearing so little? Your hair isn't even dry. Su Junlin cleverly explained, Mom, I'm not cold. I'm used to it. Hearing this, her heart ached. Such a young child has already suffered so much. The weather is getting colder and colder, yet he says he isn't cold. She continued to dry his hair and said softly, after your hair is dry, Mom will tell you a story, okay? Su Junlin said pitifully, Mom, I've never heard a story before. She gently replied, then Mom will tell you stories often from now on, okay? How about the story of Sun Wukong making havoc in heaven? He happily agreed. Okay. At this moment, the system popped up a notification. Su Junlin's blackening value decreased by 1%. Sui Tang felt a surge of joy in her heart. It seems that treating him sincerely is indeed effective. Little guy, I hope I can heal your wounds soon. Late at night, lying in bed, she yawned and mumbled. Taking care of a child is so tiring. She sat up in a daze, her mind full of modern things. I really want to go back and travel, eat hot pot. Just then, there was a noise outside. Half asleep, she asked Kaidai what's wrong. Suddenly, Bala Xuanji appeared out of nowhere. She asked in surprise, Bala Xuanji, why are you here? She thought to herself, he's been cold to me ever since we returned from the Su residence. Why is he suddenly here? Bala Xuanji said coldly, to sleep. Sui Tang was so angry, she almost exploded. You want to spend the night in my bed? She was so shocked she couldn't speak, but Bala Xuanji looked as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Yes. He sat down casually, and Sui Tang wrinkled her nose, saying righteously, if you've been kidnapped or forced into this, just blink and I can help you. Bala Xuanji's face darkened as he recalled the servant's gossip. Miss Sui is just waiting to marry the young master, but he doesn't touch her at all. Serves her right to be a living widow. Bai Shucheng is the real wife. Miss Sui is just passing through. He thought, Sui Tang saved me back at the Su residence. If it weren't to repay this favor and to stop the servants from gossiping about her, I wouldn't be here at all. Bala Xuanji pushed her onto the bed and asked, Sui Tang, are you scared or shy? She stammered, blushing, I'm not scared, and I'm definitely not shy. I'm just not used to sleeping with other people. He raised an eyebrow teasingly. Really? Then why is your face so red? She tried to compose herself, chanting silently, Sui Tang, don't lose face in front of the enemy. She grabbed a pillow and held it in front of her, pushing him away. Bala Xuanji, you can stay, but you have to answer a few questions first. He calmly said, ask away. She asked innocently, do you snore? He immediately replied, no. She then held up 2 fingers. Do you grind your teeth? Talk in your sleep. He replied helplessly, none of the above. She said coquettishly, how do you know? Haven't you always slept alone? Bala Xuanji grew impatient and lifted her chin. Sui Tang, if you don't want to sleep with me, just say it directly. Why beat around the bush? As soon as he finished speaking, he snatched her blanket. She yelled, Bali Xuanya, that's my blanket. He forcefully declared, not just the blanket, everything in this room, including you, is mine. The argument ended with them glaring at each other. Bali Xuanya tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Was it because she was here? Sui Tang, however, was already fast asleep. Suddenly, she rubbed her eyes and sat up. Kaidai, where's the chamber pot? He quickly closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. As she got out of bed, she thought uncomfortably, I drank too much water with Su Junlin tonight. That's why I woke up in the middle of the night. Just then, she noticed him and paused. Bali Xuanya, I almost forgot this block of ice was still in the room. She waved her hand. Iceberg. But he didn't move. She chuckled to herself, sleeping like a log. Don't blame me later. She stared at his chest, a mischievous smile on her face. As soon as she touched his collar, he grabbed her hand. She stammered, Be Bili Xuanya. He asked, puzzled, What are you doing? Sui Tang stammered, What can I be doing? I just thought your blanket wasn't tucked in properly, and I was afraid you'd catch a cold, so I was tucking you in. She widened her eyes. She was so close to seeing it. But Bali Xuanya pulled her into his arms and whispered, Sui Tang, if you really want to sleep with me, I can pretend you asked and reluctantly agree. She immediately threw cold water on him. You should keep dreaming. It'll be much faster that way. The situation suddenly reversed, and he pinned her down on the bed. I think it'll be faster starting now. She frowned, panicked. Bali Xuanya, what do you think you're doing? He leaned in close, provoking her. Isn't this what you wanted? A man and a woman alone in a room. What do you think will happen? Sui Tang's heart pounded, thinking about what to do. I don't want to give my first time to a paper man. If Bali Xuanya really tries something, I can't beat him at all. I can only use this trick. Her eyes reddened, and she began to feign weakness and vulnerability. Bali Xuanya was furious. He questioned Sui Tang, do I disgust you that much? She just continued to cry, not saying a word. He suddenly wrapped her up like a dumpling. Before leaving, he repeated what he had just said, as if reminding her and himself. I said, I'm not interested in you. I won't touch you. She kept her eyes tightly shut, only daring to open them after hearing the door slam with a bang. She let out a long sigh of relief. Phew, he's finally gone. Thankfully, he didn't turn into a beast. The next morning, while father and son were drinking tea, Olbai casually asked, I heard you spent the night in Sui Tang's room last night. He replied without hesitation, yes. After all, we're already married. We can't keep sleeping in separate rooms. The Su family would definitely gossip. The old man couldn't help but think that he would actually consider the Su family's reputation. Lu Shur chimed in, that's really a hardship for you. Once Sui Tang helps you break the curse on your body, you can marry the person you truly love. She sighed again. By the way, your cousin Bai Shuqing has been staying in your courtyard these past few days. Have you visited her? She's not feeling well, and you, as her cousin, should show some concern. He replied with an impassive face, Mother, Bai Shuqing has a doctor taking care of her. You don't need to worry too much. She couldn't help but nag you. I'm looking forward to holding a grandchild soon. The old man quickly interrupted Lu Shur. All right, it's fine to go see her later. Madam, go check on breakfast. I have something to discuss with Yer privately. After Lu Shur left, the old man immediately asked Yer, did you get that thing from the Su family yesterday? He calmly replied, the Su family's forbidden grounds are heavily guarded with numerous traps. Yer has disappointed father. The old man asked again, were you injured? He answered as usual, just a few scrapes, nothing serious. The old man had to let it go for now, feigning concern. Just focus on recovering from your injuries for now. As for that thing, you're the Su family's son-in-law now, you'll have other opportunities. However, there was still something weighing on his mind. Bai Li Shuangye decided to speak up, lest there be misunderstandings between father and son later. Father, the reason I was able to escape from the Su family this time. He lowered his head and continued. That was because Sui Tang helped me. That's why I went to her room last night. I just didn't want to owe her a favor. Is that all? The old man sensed the hesitation in his words and questioned him suspiciously. Remembering her aggrieved expression last night and being pressed with this question, he froze for a moment, but quickly answered firmly, yes. He desperately tried to find an excuse to dismiss the matter. She despises me so much, and I hate her too. What other feelings could we possibly have? We are mortal enemies, the old man reminded him. Shuangye, if you want to achieve great things, remember never to let romantic feelings hold you back, especially for that Su girl. He regained his usual composure and replied, don't worry, father. I will never have any feelings for Bai Li Shuangye. Elsewhere, she sneezed loudly. Su Junlin asked worriedly, Mother, have you caught a cold? She waved her hand. It's probably just the spicy hot pot. It'll be fine after it simmers for a while. He asked again, is this hot pot from your hometown? Outside, the doctor cheerfully led the way. It's rare to see you so concerned about Miss Bai's health. She'll be very happy to know you came to see her. What's that smell? So spicy, it's overpowering. He ventured a guess. It seems to be coming from your main courtyard. Miss Su didn't set your room on fire, did she? Did she? Hearing this, he immediately turned and changed direction. The doctor hurriedly asked, aren't you going to see Miss Bai anymore? He instructed, you go in my place. Along the way, he couldn't help but complain, I only bumped into Sui Tang, and she wants to burn down my room. What a vicious woman. Saying so, he pushed the door open and entered. The two people inside stopped eating. She exclaimed, Bai Li Shuangye. He asked in confusion, what are you doing? She replied dumbly, eating hot pot, then awkwardly invited, do you want to join us? He actually sat down and asked blankly, how do you eat this? She felt a little shy. I was just being polite, and he actually sat down. But she still enthusiastically explained, put the ingredients in the boiling water, and when they're cooked, you can eat them. Try my cooking. Su Junlin even praised, it's really delicious.